Hello, 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 and a special hello to King Peter of the chat. Clank, mother effers. Clank, 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 clank. Oh, they've been clanking. They've been ringing. They have been all over my comments everywhere, but none of it will change the fact that I have epically triggered Styxhexenhammer. It's still going. And we're going to talk about it today. But I am very, very grateful, Peter. Very, very generous. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate the support. You've always been so supportive. And, I think it was a perfect day, a perfect moment. Peter, your timing is impeccable. Well, guys, it has been an eventful couple of days. I wasn't planning on talking about this again today. I kind of thought that the issue had been settled. I thought I had said my piece. And yet, here we are on day 2 of the triggering of Styxhexenhammer. Day 2. Now, I want to say this because I want to be more ethically honest than I suspect that Styx is being. I don't know yet. I haven't watched the video that he made yet. We're going to watch the video on this stream together. We're going to enjoy it together. But I do want to start off by saying this. I don't think that Styxhexenhammer is like bad guy. I don't. As I said numerous times yesterday, I think that Styxhexenhammer is one of the smartest commentators doing commentary on politics today. I think that his work speaks for itself. I am deeply impressed, and quite frankly, everyone should be deeply impressed at the volumes and volumes and volumes of work that Styxhexenhammer has produced. I think that's impeccable. I have no issue with him. I actually think that I've looked at the last couple of days of this of him because I have been triggering him for the past 2 days, 2 straight days. My suspicion is this, that he has a very young child that maybe has some teeth coming in, that is maybe crying a lot, resulting in Styx not getting enough sleep. I'm going to give him that benefit of the doubt. I think that that is probably what's going on. And that's not, that happens. Sometimes I have no animosity towards Styx. So for anyone, just so you guys know, we're going to go over the rules of the chat in a second. But if you're not a regular in my chat and I see you whining, that is going to be cause for immediate blocking. And Cosmic Pepe, I don't know who you are because you're not a regular in my chat. And so for right now, you're going to get a nice timeout and you can think about it. And if you want to come back and act like, because I haven't read the rules yet, we're going to go over the rules of the chat in a second. But for those of you who think that this is going to be a stream where I'm going to shit on Styx, I'm not. I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't really have a problem with what he does. And I am not the type of content creator that's going to say, I would like to just instruct all my moderators that if you see people in the chat who are being dicks before I've read the rules, please feel free to time them out. Okay? Please feel free to time them out. I'm not messing around. And I can block them as the chat goes on because they've been reeing all over the place all day. So, what I want to say is I am not the type of person that will say, you have to choose between me and him. I don't care if you watch him. I don't care if you support him. If you like his content, that's your business. There have been times when I've watched a lot of his content. I haven't watched in a while because I don't really watch content creators all that often. But I think that he does a fairly good job. And I don't think that anyone should feel bad about liking him or supporting him or any of these things. And I kind of think that this whole triggering is rather ridiculous. But the fact of the matter is this, is just last week, I did start a website called Art of the Trigger, which you can find at artofthetrigger.com, in which I am discussing why people get triggered. I'm doing case studies on people being triggered by me, and I'm using it as a way to teach people how people get triggered so that you can do whatever you need to do to not get triggered. It is actually a serious self-help website. I'm calling it a satirical self-help website with real self-help, but I am using real case studies. And I'm not going to shy away. If I have a major creator that has been triggered by me over the past 2 days, I'm going to take that opportunity. I'm sorry. That's just the way it goes. And he had every opportunity to stop, and he didn't. And I told him this is what I was going to do, and he still didn't stop. So I wrote a case study about it. And I'm going to be writing another case study about what's had happened since I wrote this case study. And we're going to talk about it because the thing of it is the people who are reading in my comments, the people who are reading in my replies, and we're going to look at all of those things. 90% of the time, they are emotionally stunted at a level that many of us surpassed in high school. Here is what I have learned about being on the internet for the past 2 years and why I have consistently said that I am eternally grateful that I did not I did not come to this internet thing when I was younger. Styx started doing this when he was very young. It's my understanding, I could be wrong, but it is my understanding that he started doing this when he was a teenager. I can't imagine. And I am so grateful that that didn't happen to me because there is this culture of people who live and breathe and who make something of themselves on the internet. It's like, I don't know exactly what the right word for it is. I've heard some people call it like 4chan brain. I call it debate bro culture. There is a subset of people on the internet that only live in their little bubble of the internet that truly believe that the world revolves around people like Styxhexenhammer. And the fact of the matter is that that's just not true. Now, I'm not shitting on anything that Styx has done. As I said at the top, I think that what he's done is actually quite impressive, and even more impressive when you take into consideration that he did it while being a part of this internet culture, which I think must have been really difficult. So I'm not shitting on that at all. But the fact of the matter is that many of the people involved in this little small kind of extremist segment, it tends to be on the right, tends to be people who might be labeled as incels. I'm not saying they are incels, but that might be a label that's put on some of them. They really believe that their little subculture is the only thing in the world that exists, and that is simply not true. And many of those people are not they're not emotionally or intellectually mature to an adult level. They're absolutely not. They are stunted at best high school level. And I think that's where some members of Styx audience is. Now, I've addressed this topic in regards to Tim Pool's audience, and Tim Pool's audience and Styxhexenhammer's audience has a fair bit of overlap. Let's just be honest about that. They have a fair bit of overlap. So the same rules apply. Now, what I have said about Tim Pool's audience and why I have no desire to engage with that community at all is the same reason why I have no desire to engage with Styxhexenhammer's community. Because I believe there is a probably small but extremely vocal part of that audience that are emotionally stunted children that would not be able to function in the real world if they had a gun to their heads. They make everything about this outrage bro, debate bro, like 4chan fucking destroy, 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 destroy culture. That is something that is so unappealing to me, I cannot even begin to tell you. And so when Styxhexenhammer said to me yesterday, debate me, bro, I said no. I have no reason to accept a debate with you. Number one, I'm not your fucking errand boy. I have reached out to you on multiple occasions around issues that are actually important, to include the Burlington, Vermont schools. And by the way, Styx and I are both from Vermont. And so this is part of the reason that I've been looking into the Burlington, Vermont schools and other schools in the state as well, is because I'm from there. He is too. He went to UVM. And Jody is gonna get Jody, you are getting blocked immediately. Goodbye, my friend. The guy I just blocked, by the way, has been acting like a raging lunatic on Twitter all day. I know exactly who he is. So that's why he got blocked. Because I'm not putting up with that. Anyway, so I've reached out to Six before in regards to issues that are actually important, and he's ignored me every single time. Now, that's neither here nor there. No one is obligated to respond to anyone else. No one is obligated to cover any stories, and I never held any ill will towards it at all. Until he wanted to make a public spectacle of demanding that I drop everything to debate him over the topic that he wanted to debate on the channel that is run by his friends. I'm sorry. No. No. First off, I don't debate ever. I think that debating is a big waste of time. I think it doesn't convince anyone. I think that it's only for entertainment, and to be quite frank, I am just not interested. It's okay that Styx and I believe different things. It's okay that we have different values. He is allowed to run his community in any way he sees fit, and I'm allowed to run my community in any way I see fit, and we don't have to have the same values. And then people can choose how and in what ways they want to be involved. But I'm not going to play up to an audience that I find to be, at least to have a segment of, that is fundamentally toxic. I have gone out of my way, especially in the last year and a half. I have worked so hard in the last year and a half to develop and curate and cultivate a community of adults, of people who are optimistic and kind to each other, of people who are not involved in this debate bro culture, of people who just they want to think about the human experience, and they want to think about bigger questions, and they want to have great conversations, and they don't want to do this like dick measuring thing that teenage boys do. I have worked so I cannot even tell you guys the length that I've gone to make sure I have the type of audience I want in my community for my own sanity. The audience that Styx has in his community, I'm not saying there's no one in his audience that would fit in my community, because I'm sure there are. There are many people in my community that like his content a lot. And again, I'm not telling you to like not watch him. I think you should watch him. I think that he's really great. But there are also members of his community that I don't want anywhere near me. They are too young. They are not capable of in understanding the content that I'm talking about. They're not even interested in trying to understand the content that I'm talking about. They just re all day, every day, looking for reasons to be pissed off. And it is completely unappealing to me. So there is no reality in which I'm going to put myself in a position of being in front of that audience, because it is only going to waste my time, cause me stress, and not give me anything tangible of value. So that's just the way it's going to be. So I think we have some fundamental disagreements on things. But what I'm trying to do with artofthetrigger.com is I want to talk about why people get triggered, how you can trigger people for fun, because I think it's good for people to be triggered. I think it helps them build resilience, and what you need to know about the psychology of being triggered so that you yourself can avoid getting triggered. It is a serious project. I am 100% serious about this. And people can read and say, you're just being a bitch on the internet. Like they can do that all they want. And it's not going to change the fact that I'm going to do whatever I want to do on the internet. And Styx can have whatever feelings he wants about it, and his fans can have whatever feelings they want about it. And we're going to look at some of those feelings today. So I've got a big an array of things we're going to look at in regards to. And the other thing I want to talk about too, and I'm, to be really honest with you, it disappoints me just a little bit that I'm finding that Styxhexenhammer is guilty of this, because I perceived him to be so. See, this is the thing. You made a whole website on one guy who was really triggered. This is fundamentally untrue. And this is what I'm talking about when I say that there are members of Styx's audience that do not have the emotional or intellectual maturity to understand what I am doing and why I'm doing it. This website isn't about Styxhexenhammer. He's one case study on a website that will have many case studies and many articles that aren't even case studies, and a podcast that may or may not be about him, depending on how long he wants to stay triggered. So this person is going to enjoy their block. So we've got a full agenda here today. I want to take you through the last 24 hours, and I want to show you guys what it's like when content creators weaponize their mid-wit audiences, because I don't think that this is Styx's intelligent audience. I do think that Styx has intelligent audience, but I want to show you what happens when content creators weaponize their mid-wit audiences to try to get people to bend the knee to them. I want to show you what this is like, because I'm going to be honest. About a year ago, what's going on right now would have really triggered me. It would have. But I've now been through round after round after round of content creators that play to this debate bro culture doing this to me. And they do it because I don't put up with their bullshit. They do it because I refuse to play their games. And I refuse to treat them as though they're anything special. Oh, goodness. So many people to block already. I really do wonder, guys, if you are one of the people that's waiting the 20 minutes to be subscribed to my channel before you can chat, I really do wonder, is it worth it to you to sit here and listen to me talk for 20 minutes just to get your opportunity to chat, just so I can block your ass? Is that really worth it? Is that a good use of time? So I will say, again, for people saying that they're disappointed, I'm not upset at Styx. I hope that eventually he learns a lesson from this and he works on the things that are triggering him, which I'm going to explain. So we got a full thing today. What I want to do is I want to look at this case study that I wrote last night about the triggering of Styxhexenhammer. I also want to show you guys some example. I want to walk through how Styx continued. So I posted this case study last night at 3 a.m. my time. Yes, I write at night. That's just the way it goes. And so I posted this case study on Twitter last night at 3 a.m. my time, Eastern time, because I'm in the US. I knew Styx would be awake and he would be able to see the notification. I woke up and found round after round after round of Styx continuing to be triggered. So we're going to go through some of the things that have happened since I posted that case study. I also want to take you through the comments on my on my original video that I did yesterday but posted today. To show you exactly what happens when creators weaponize their audience to try to annoy people into submission, which is exactly what Styxhexenhammer is trying to do. I want to show you the comments that they're leaving on my Twitter. We'll talk about that in a second. I want to watch the video that Styxhexenhammer made about me, where he was a triggered little bitch. I've heard. And respond to that. And I think that that's about all I want to do. So that's what we're going to do on the channel today. And if you want to stick around, Cool. If you don't want to stick around, don't. But again, guys, if you're finding yourself disappointed because you like both of us, I would really encourage you to just like not be disappointed. Like I'm not disappointed. I have no animosity towards Styx. There'd be no reason for me to have animosity towards him. He Styx has blessed me with 2 straight days worth of content. And I think that this is mostly because he's exhausted because he has a newborn. And isn't it amazing that we can utilize the content that Styx was generous enough to bless me with in order to teach people larger lessons that they can use in their real life? I think that that's actually a pretty great thing. Now, before we jump into it, just a couple quick things. First, I just want to remind everyone that we do, in fact, have movie night coming up this week in the supporter Discord, and Jennifer has been very nice to post a poll in locals to vote on which movie we're watching. And it looks like The Thing is winning resoundingly right now, but a lot of people haven't voted yet. So, if you have not yet voted in the poll for movie night and you care which movie we're watching this week, please go ahead and head over to Locals. It is pinned right to the top, kb.locals.com. You can choose between Alien, The Thing, and Predator. We have a lot of outstanding votes, guys. The poll's only going to be up for a couple more days, and then we're going to have movie night on Sunday at 8 p.m. And so, there's still plenty of room to sway it if you want to. Excuse me. And regardless of which movie gets picked, we're gonna have a great movie night on Sunday. Then the following Sunday, we're gonna be watching Poltergeist, the original, not the remake, obviously. That's all gonna be in my supporter Discord. You can get access to the supporter Discord by becoming a member in my locals or in my Patreon. Information is in the description below. I won't bore you with that today. And that's what we're gonna do there. I also want to remind everyone that that book club for the locals community is this weekend, and we are reading the Communist Manifesto. Super short. So there's still plenty of time to read it, plenty of time to join us for a discussion made on Wednesday. Or not Wednesday. Oh gosh, a discussion on Saturday. Oh my, today is Wednesday. Saturday at 3 p.m. We're going to be discussing the Communist Manifesto in book club, in locals, and I'm looking forward to seeing many of you there. If you haven't yet gotten your copy, again, this is really short, guys. You can read this in like a sitting easily. There are free copies of it available on the internet. There are audio copies that you can find on YouTube where people have just like read it. So there are lots of ways that you can get involved with Communist Manifesto, and I think that that would be really great. And I'm looking forward to having the discussion on Saturday. Oh, Matthew, thank you so much, Matthew, for being one of the very best people to intro the next thing we're going to talk about, which is the rules of the chat. This intro is super cringe, and this is exactly why I stopped listening to her. Her arrogance dripping from her is gross. I cultivate a smarter audience. Gross. Well, Matthew's going to enjoy his block. Because you know what? It's important. It is important. It is very important that we acknowledge when just an audience isn't a good fit for us. If you want this debate bro bullshit, there are so many channels that you can get the debate bro bullshit from. So many channels. So, we have finally gotten to the rules of the chat, and these rules will be especially enforced today. So, there are 2 rules of my chat. Number 1, don't be a dick. I purposefully curate my channel because I do not want this to be as awful as the chat on Nick Ricada's channel. I do not want this to be as awful as the chat on Tim Pool's channel. And I'm not no shade towards either of those people, but they leave their chats open and they are goddamn hellscapes. Nice people don't want to participate in those chats. I don't want that type of chat here. If that's what you're looking for, you can get it elsewhere. But you are not going to be a dick to me or to anyone else on this channel And if you are a dick, and this is by my sole discretion, your ass will be blocked very quickly and you will not be allowed back. Number 2, no whining. I cannot. I cannot deal with the whining. Now, Ronan, you're coming very close to breaking the no whining rule. I don't know by the drama. Even people on the right get caught up in ego bullshit. I may not enjoy Carlin's content focus lately, but I appreciate how hard she works. Okay, this is actually something nice. See, I will admit when I make a mistake. I will admit when I'm wrong. I didn't read the full chat. What I did read when I was started to make fun of it. So, Ronan, I apologize. I was wrong about your chat. I can admit when I'm wrong, unlike others. So what I saw when I pulled this chat up was I may not enjoy Carlin's content focus lately. Let me lay this out for you guys. The people that we're going to see today in the comments that are going to say things like, you only ever talk about drama. You're only ever fighting with people. You never do regular content anymore. I don't know why you're always fighting with people. You got so many posts. Those people that we're going to see reeing all throughout my comments are never here when we do school investigation streams. They are never here when we're doing happy hour. They are never here when we're doing Socialism Saturday. They are never here when we're talking about unwoke content and stories and strategies. They don't listen to the podcast. They aren't members of locals. They don't come to the community calls. They don't come to movie nights. The only thing that the people who say, I used to love your content, but I just can't anymore and I'm going to unsubscribe. The only thing those people do is whine. The only thing they do is whine. Justin, I will run my channel any way I see fit, and if you don't like it, you can show yourself out. I will be the sole arbiter of who is breaking the rules. My rules are not difficult. If you can't rein in your feelings, that is a you problem and not a me problem. But you're not going to disrupt the nice, calm chat that I have to project your feelings onto everyone else. That is not going to happen. Incognito, ooh, pictures of the rules, la 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 la. Yes, I've even gone so far as to put pictures. Now, if anyone chats in, debate him, bro. You're a coward. You won't debate him. Why don't you debate him? That's going to be an immediate break of both the don't be a dick rule and the no whining rule, and that's going to get you blocked. I want to encourage my moderators to time people out liberally today. My moderators are people that are here consistently. You know who's a regular in the chat and who's not. We give a little bit more leeway to the regulars. They get a little bit more. King Peter can say whatever the fuck he wants. But we give a little bit more leeway to the regulars because they show up. Who we do not give leeway for are the people who are only here to whine and complain. So, we have our rules. I hope people agree to those rules. And let's get started. So the very first thing I want to do is I want to review the case study that I wrote last night about the triggering of Styxhexenhammer. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing word for word because if you want to read the whole thing word for word, you can head over to artofthetrigger.com and you can read it for yourself. But what I do want to talk about is what happened, why he got triggered, and show you some evidence. And I want to talk about my analysis. Mostly my analysis is what I want to talk about today, because if you want to know, like if you just want to see the screenshots of the tweets, you can watch yesterday's stream as well, and that's going to show you that. But I really want to talk about the analysis of what is going on. So let me just start. Sometimes the smartest people in the world can be triggered simply by getting it wrong, and I legitimately believe that libertarian commentator Styxhexenhammer is smart. Very smart. But intelligent people can be triggered too. In fact, it can be very easy for them to be triggered by being wrong and not wanting to admit it. Because they're so used to being right and smarter to everyone else that when they get it wrong, it's a shock to their system. Oh, really, Catherine? Styx didn't seem upset because he's been insulting me for 2 straight days on Twitter. He's been legitimately insulting me for 2 straight days on Twitter. We're going to talk about Styx uses of insults and why they absolutely reveal that Styx is 100% triggered in this situation. Because unlike Styx, I haven't insulted him. I didn't hurl insults at him. I didn't call him names. I didn't say, debate me, bro. I didn't do any of those things. He's the one that did those things. He did those, which I'm going to prove. If Styx would agree to a conversation instead of a debate, would you have him on or go on his channel? No, probably not. Probably not. What does he want to talk about? I mean, I suppose it. To be fair, because I'm going to be more intellectually honest than he is. Would I have him on? The only reality that I can see right now is I would welcome him on my channel to have a civil dialogue and discussion about a topic that I care about, which might not be the same topic that he cares about. But I'm not going on his channel and I'm not going on his friend's channel because right now what Styxhexenhammer is trying to do is to put me in a situation where he has control over me, and I don't want that. I also have absolutely no desire to be in front of Styxhexenhammer's audience. None at all. So there's no reason for me to go on his channel. There's no reason for me to debate him. I get no value from that at all. But I will leave the door open that if he would like to come and have a civil dialogue, not a debate, because I do not debate, but a dialogue on my channel, I could be convinced if it were a topic that I cared about. You say you don't care, but you made a whole podcast on the matter. Well, someone somewhere, here's what you need to do, girl. You need to rewind back to the beginning of the stream. First you need to rein in the feels. You need to do a few deep breaths. Rein in the feels. And then you need to rewind to the beginning of the stream and listen to the purpose of art of the trigger. And then you will have an explanation about why there is a case study, which, by the way, I told him I was going to do. None of this should have ever been a surprise. Peter says, I would love for you to talk about about how infighting is the biggest barrier to success for the Libertarian Party. You know what, Peter? I would absolutely talk about that because I 100% agree with you. I 1000% agree with you. But here's the thing. I'm not the one infighting. And I'm going to prove that in the course of this stream. I'm not the one infighting. He's the one infighting. If Styxhexenhammer wants to come to New Hampshire and run for governor after he lives here for 7 years to meet the residency requirement, I would welcome that. I've heard a rumor that he didn't talk about that on his stream today. He shit on me for something. I don't know. I don't want to prejudge. I haven't watched the video yet. But my understanding is that he shit on me for 10 minutes and talked about my campaign maybe and how I'm not like a libertarian or something. And but what he didn't tell you is I told him yesterday, not once but twice, in the stuff that's not even in this case study, that I wanted him to come to New Hampshire and run for governor. I told Styx multiple times yesterday, probably at least 4 times yesterday, that if Styx wanted to come to New Hampshire and live here for 7 years to meet the residency requirement, that I would be thrilled for him to come to New Hampshire and run for governor. I actually do think that would be badass. Now, my understanding is that he neglected to mention that on his stream today, on the video that he did about me. But that's the truth. And Casmar is saying the art of the trigger was established before Styx. That is exactly correct. I launched the art of the trigger like last week or the week before. Last week, I think. And I've been thinking about launching it for over a year. His behavior is only being used as an example for teaching. It has never been a personal attack. That is absolutely correct. And this is what I'm talking about when I say that, well, you apparently, bitch. Goodbye. See, people like that, they're just not useful to have around. So, oh, we got a super chat. Nobody is triggered. You're being histrionic. Thanks for the money. Enjoy your block, bitch. But I'll keep the money. Thanks for that. See, these people who are invading my chat right now, this is what I told you guys at the beginning. They have been emotionally and intellectually stunted in high school. They are not capable of understanding the concepts that I'm talking about with Art of the Trigger. They have no desire to understand what I'm talking about with Art of the Trigger. And they're just going to make noise and be distracting. So why should we keep them around? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. When did you first share that you had no intention to win and it was a strategic play? Might be a good clip to share with Styx. He does value receipts. I shared that months ago before I had even been nominated for governor. I shared that on my channel. I think there's actually a video like where I said I might run for governor in New Hampshire. Like it was a joke at the time. But like months ago where I said I would, I threw my name in the hat and said I would do it if I didn't have to do anything. I have talked about the reason that my name is on the ballot for governor of New Hampshire on probably at least a dozen occasions on my channel. I have never hidden it. Well, we like the strategy was always to put all the resources and energy into Jeremy Kauffman for Senate. That was always it. And I've never hidden that. But if Styx wants to come to New Hampshire and make a real run for governor, like I said, and like I told him multiple times yesterday, I think it would be amazing if he came here, got involved with the LPNH, lived here for 7 years to meet the residency requirement, and then ran. I'm all for it. I'll help you in any way I can. See you in New Hampshire soon, Styx. It would be no problem with me if Styx came to New Hampshire and ran for governor. Because as we're talking about in the article that you all can read in your own time, my priority is not feeding my own ego on this one. To be honest, if I could have taken my name off the ballot a long time ago, I probably would have. But sadly, we were too far down the path, and that was just what happened. But if someone else wants to do it, man, they can do it in a sec. If you literally search for New Hampshire governor on my channel, I am positive it would come up. Just search on my channel. Anyway, let's go back to the article. Catherine, you are about 1 second away from breaking the don't be a dick rule. So you can get mad about an issue, but it doesn't seem to get off balance. Do I seem mad? Am I yelling? Am I crying? You guys are the ones that are mad. You guys are the ones that are acting like children. You guys are the ones that are complaining and not listening. Or dare I say, whining. Just curious, how did you get on the ballot? Don't you have to be like super rich or have a PAC level money to get on ballots? No, how I got on the ballot is that dozens of people in the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire spent months collecting over 6,000 petitions in the state of New Hampshire on a multi-candidate form that put both me and Jeremy Kauffman on the ballot. It was an epic volunteer coordinated effort led by Justin O'Donnell, who is Jeremy Kauffman's campaign manager. And Jeremy and I happened to be on the same form because we used a multi-candidate form to collect signatures from all over the state to get us on the ballot. That's what happened. So no, I'm not even fundraising for my campaign because I want everyone to donate to Jeremy's campaign so that we can put Jeremy's ads on the air. And if you haven't seen, listen, man, why is Styxhexenhammer even talking about me when he could be talking about Jeremy Kauffman? If you are one of Styx's fans and you are not a regular on my channel, what I would really like you to do is to look up Jeremy Kauffman's ads and share them all over the place. I want people to donate to Jeremy Kauffman's campaign so that we can air those ads on TV. That's what I want. Mindy, who I have never seen on my channel before. I completely understand curating your YouTube, but trying to get someone banned on Twitter when you could just mute or block them seems like an odd choice as a libertarian. Well, Mindy, then he shouldn't have threatened me with physical violence. Physical violence, a threat of physical violence, is an odd choice for a libertarian, considering that even the threat of physical violence is against the non-aggression principle. If someone threatens me with physical anything, I will report their asses. And no amount of whining or crying or anything else is going to change that. And if people don't like it, then they should really refrain from threatening me with physical anything. And I don't care what excuse you make. I don't care if you say, well, he obviously wasn't going to hurt you. I don't care. Because even the threat of physical violence is against the non-aggression principle. All right. Well, agent, then turn on notifications. Turn on notifications. All right, let's read this. Let's see. Admitting you're wrong is a skill. We live in a world where there is no incentive to admit that you're wrong. In fact, there's a disincentive to do so because people will hold one instance of being wrong against you for the rest of your life at the most inopportune moment. And that's a shame because there's not a single infallible human being on the planet. If there's one thing we can count on besides death and taxes, is that every one of us will get something wrong at one point in our lives. But as it is, most people struggle to admit when they've screwed up, leaving it as a really underdeveloped skill for the majority of people. Oh, yeah. Oh, just so you guys know, yeah, YouTube unsubscribes several hundred people from my channel like every single day. Every day. Now, I don't really care about numbers all that much, so I tend not to worry about it, but like if you're subscribed and you want to be great, but I'm sorry if they unsubscribed you because you're not the only person that I've heard that from. If admitting you're wrong is not a muscle you flex often, you aren't going to have developed the ability to do it. It's like riding a bike. If we've never ridden a bike or haven't in a very long time, you might be a little shaky when you get on. It's natural from a lack of experience. On top of that, there are some personality styles that not only dislike admitting they are wrong, but downright loathe it. William, honoring the $2 rule. The rule on the channel is that if I'm proven right and you're proven wrong, you owe me $2. It's an honor system. But thank you for the $2 super chat, William. I do appreciate it. So there are some people who not only dislike admitting they're wrong, but they downright loathe it. They may even be terrified of it. They tend to be a more detail-oriented style, the more autistic styles, if you will. And I don't say that with any shade. That's just reality. The ones who do deep dives into things more than the average bear, and therefore almost always in a position to be the experts in the room. Being wrong calls into question their very identity. And that's the personality style I suspect Styx has. The triggering of Styxhexenhammer started because he got something wrong and didn't want to admit it. Even when it became obvious that he was defending the indefensible, he dug in his heels and tried to shape reality to a land where he was right. I really believe that's one of the root causes of why Styx is so triggered about this. He was wrong. He didn't realize he was wrong at first because he didn't actually see the content that we were talking about. And then he found out that he was wrong, didn't want to admit he was wrong, made every excuse in the book for why he wasn't wrong, and then continued to dig in his heels when he was, in fact, wrong. So that's what I think happened. I think that Styx has a personality style. It's called the conscientiousness style, where not only do they dislike being wrong, but it actually triggers a deep fear in them. And what I really think is happening, and this might sound weird, Styx is probably so used to being right that he doesn't have experience with admitting when he just makes a mistake, which is, fine. Like, that's not a natural experience for anyone. But, for some people, the fear of being wrong is so intense that it actually links into your survival mechanism. So for Styx, and we're talking about a deeply subconscious level here, we're not talking about something that he's necessarily aware of. On a deeply subconscious level, for him, being wrong is the same thing as his life being in danger. And so when that happens, his sympathetic nervous system revs right up. He gets fired up. He probably doesn't even realize it. And that's what has triggered him. Now, that's what started the trigger. But there are all sorts of levels to this particular triggering that I think is interesting. Now, this is where I'm going to skip a little bit because I already covered this yesterday on yesterday's stream. Basically, what happened is Styx tweeted something, the LPNH tweeted back. This jackass posted a picture of me, basically insinuating that I was a leftist and a grifter and blah, 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 all the things that I've heard a million times. For those of you who don't know, I left the left in 2020 in February. I remained an independent all throughout 2020. I thought the Libertarian Party sucked. And so I didn't really consider the Libertarians as an option because I thought that they were woke as shit and I didn't want anything to do with that. I ended up begrudgingly joining the Republican Party for about 15 minutes, mostly to troll Lauren Witzke, because Lauren Witzke, before she got banned on Twitter, said something like, "Carlin, you will never be a Republican." And I was like, oh yeah, Lauren, because I was going to be in a debate with her on Elijah Schaefer's channel. So to trigger Lauren Witzke, I went to town hall before I was in the debate with her on Elijah Schaefer's channel, and I joined the Republican Party so I could say, "Ha ha, Lauren, I'm a Republican now, and ain't nothing you can do about it." And then I left like a month later. I wasn't even in the Republican Party for that long, and quite frankly, the Republicans were pissing me off the entire effing time. It's a little bit more complicated than that. It also had to do with there was an anti-CRT bill I was working on in New Hampshire. And so I had actually started connecting with libertarians in the state of New Hampshire. And when I connected with the LPNH, I discovered a completely different side of libertarians than I had known before. So I basically ended up realizing, holy shit, like these are actually my people. I joined the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire in April of 2021. I've been very active in the party. Like pretty much like I communicate with members of the party like every single day. Like, I mean, literally every day. I was a delegate at the Libertarian National Convention in Reno back in May. I'm obviously the current LPNH nominee for governor. That was kind of an accident. I'm not going to tell that story on this channel. But suffice it to say, I've been involved now with the Libertarian Party nationally and in New Hampshire for a year and a half. But people like this still like to say, she because that's all they do all day, every day, because they're emotionally stunted teenagers. So in response to that, I posted, and then he said that he was going to, like, he basically made a threat of physical violence. I don't deal with that shit at all. And I said, oh, you made it really easy for me to get your account banned. And I reported his ass to Twitter. and I don't have any regrets. And that's when it started. And you guys can go and read all the I don't want to spend too much time on that. Catherine, you just got yourself blocked, bitch. Goodbye. God, you give people chance after chance after chance, and they just can't get it together. They still have their feelings. Triggering is truth. Every trigger is caused by knowing that at least a nugget of what the person is saying is true. It may be a nugget of truth covered in a mound of bullshit, but there is truth nonetheless. What that means is that something cannot trigger you if you know in your soul that it is completely untrue. There would be no reason for you to be upset. That would be like me saying, "You're a turtle." That probably wouldn't trigger you unless you're Mitch McConnell, because you know you're not a turtle. To trigger Styx, I kept hammering on an inherent truth that he couldn't run away from, that he was defending a person who made a threat of physical violence, which is a clear violation of the NAP. And guys, I'm going to say this again. I said it before. And Styx could have whatever interpretation he wants of this situation. We'll talk about Styx and I having different values later. But it is not enough to say, like, the NAP not only forbids violence, the NAP forbids the threat of violence. So the threat of violence in and of itself is a violation, and he can spin it all he wants. The intent of the person, whether or not they actually intend to commit violence, is not an issue. They still made the threat, so whether or not they intend to follow through on it really has no bearing to the argument being made. Styx's trigger was knowing he had been caught being wrong, and there was no way out of it. If he had known there was no truth to what I was saying, there would have been no reason for him to be triggered. He would have just disengaged and moved on. He didn't do that. I'm going to say that again. If Styxhexenhammer was really confident, sure, to the core of his being, that what I was saying was wrong, then there would have been no reason for him to continue to engage with me for 2 straight days. There would have been no reason for it. He engaged with me for 2 straight days because at least a part of him, maybe not one he wants to admit to, but at least a part of him knew he was wrong and knew there was truth to what I was saying. Deborah says, in my opinion, people get triggered when there is an attack on the person's core belief about his or herself, but the poke is a truth that the person doesn't want to acknowledge about his and herself. Counterpoint, threats are satire. This threat was not satire. I'm sorry. This threat, absolutely not satire. I get threats from people like this on social media all the time. I am absolutely able to tell the difference. This was not satire. This was coming from a rage-addicted person who had just opened their Twitter account a month ago. We're not even talking about a well-established Twitter account here. We're talking about a Twitter account that had been opened a month ago. And my bet as to why that Twitter account had been opened a month ago is this person has probably received at least one, if not multiple, permanent bans on Twitter for doing exactly what they did. So we're talking about a pattern of behavior, probably. I don't know that for sure, but that's my bet. Our behaviors give away our true motivations. No matter what Styx said, his behavior showed he was absolutely triggered because he could not let go of trying to reframe the situation to one where he was proven to be right. Anything else is a threat to his identity and his perception of self. After a few more back and forths, Styx tried to escalate to scare me with his audience by quote tweeting me and calling my campaign into question. So now he's saying, "Well, Joseph, why is it sad? Because I don't even know who you are. I don't know who you are." This is part of the gaslighting that I'm talking about. Joseph right now is doing an excellent example of the type of gaslighting that you can expect when you question someone's favorite creator. I don't know who you are, Joseph. You've never come to my investigations about the schools. You've never come to my socialism streams. You've never come to my Unwoke streams. You've never come to happy hours. You've never participated in the comments. You've never tweeted at me. You've never joined my locals and come to movie night or come to our discussions. So I don't find it incredibly sad that you're showing yourself the door because you've never been involved in the first place. What you're trying to do is to gaslight me into making me believe that you've been involved when you haven't. Unlike other creators, I pay very close attention to who is in my chat, who's in my comments, who's participating, and who's not. So you're just a gaslighting juvenile. So enjoy your block, bitch. So Styx started trying to bait me. I ignored the bait. You must always take control away from the person you are trying to trigger by essentially ignoring what they say to you and driving the conversation where you want it to go. And that's exactly what I did. I continued to hit on the obvious was defending someone who was in clear violation of the NAP. You can see that. I also may have accused him of being an inauthentic shill without mentioning his name. In reality, I don't think Styx is an inauthentic shill. I just think he's wrong, authentically wrong. But when you're playing the triggering game, there's nothing that says you have to tell someone the truth. Steven, I should put that on a t-shirt. What t-shirt did I say I was going to make the other day? Does anyone remember what t-shirt I said I would make the other day? Yeah, George is asking a very good question, actually. So that is why they went crying to Styx to bully you to lift the report. That's a really good point, George. You guys want to shit on me. You were the ones that went crying to Styx over this bullshit, creating 2 days worth of triggering. So Styx kept responding by quote tweeting me. There we go. I responded by hammering on that trigger again. I used different words in each tweet, but the message was always the same, hitting on that core nugget of truth that Styx was desperate to argue away. Yes. Steven, let me write this down. I need to actually make a note. I'm going to forget it again. Make pronouns grammatical again and enjoy your block, bitch. Okay, Steven, I've got that written down. Thank you so much. Since Styx was also trying to insinuate that I wasn't a libertarian, I also added some extra like voluntary association concepts in. Basically, here's the part that I really want people to understand. It does seem as though there is an irreconcilable difference in how Styx and I view this situation. Styx believes that the intent of the person making the threat of physical violence matters, and I do not believe that the intent of the person who made the threat of physical violence matters. That is just an inherent, irreconcilable difference. Styx has one set of values and I have a different set of values. And what I proactively told Styx, which you can see right here, is it was completely fine for us to have different values. There was no fight here. I wasn't trying to get Styx to agree with me. I don't care if he agrees with me. It makes no difference if he agrees with me. So what I said was anyone who would like to join a community where threats of violence are not only condoned but encouraged will find a wonderful community in Styxhexenhammers. I'm not arguing that his community shouldn't exist. I am simply arguing that I have a different community with different values where we do things differently. And I said, if this happened in my community, the person would be immediately removed. We have different values. And that's the difference. No, it doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't matter because a threat of physical violence is against the non aggression principle. I do not give a flying fuck if it's against the law. A threat of physical anything is against the non aggression principle. That's my value. If you don't agree and you want to exist in a community where you are allowed to make threats of physical violence whenever you want to do it, you are welcome to GTFO from my community because I'm not going to allow that shit, not for one red second. But isn't it amazing that we live in a world where you can go right over to Styxhexenhammer's community and have a way to be in a community where you can be in a place where you can make threats of physical violence. But you're not going to do it here. I'm not going to allow it. And no amount of whining or crying is going to change that. King Peter of the chat says, I think what is really triggering Styx is that he agrees totally on the nap, but doesn't agree that a non-actionable, non-specific threat is under the nap. Well, Styx and I have different values than Peter. And I'm not even saying that he's wrong to have those values. What I am saying is that he's not going to force his values on me, and I'm not trying to force my values on him. We can exist in different spaces. This is such a non-issue. I don't even know why we're fighting about it. He is allowed to do what he wants in his world. He is not allowed to force his values on me. This is why I am choosing not to be a part of his world. I am voluntarily opting myself out of it because I do not want to be in a community in which people are allowed to make threats of physical violence willy-nilly whenever they fucking feel like it. That is not what feeds my soul, man. If it works for people in that community, great. Not going to do it in mine, though. Not going to be a part of it. And I'm not going to play by the rules that Styxhexenhammer is trying to force me to play by. And it really doesn't matter how people feel about it beyond that. If you don't like my rules in my community, you're welcome to GTFO. No one's going to stop you. Styx was now both quote tweeting me and responding to my tweets, so I could tell the trigger was controlling his behaviors. I made sure to mirror his behavior. Mirroring people's behavior is just when you do to them exactly what they are doing to you. Its purpose is to very literally hold a mirror up to them so that they can see what they are doing. We've covered that something will only trigger us if we know there's truth in it. I think I'm missing a word there. Well, here's another nugget. We are only triggered by behaviors we see in other people if we know we are also guilty of that behavior ourselves. When other people have flaws we subconsciously know that we have too, it is much easier to identify and attack those flaws in other people than it is to admit we have those flaws and attack them in ourselves. So I kept hitting on the same notes. Styx was wrong, and he knew it, and he really could have walked away from the conversation knowing he was wrong. So I kept going, blah, blah, blah. You can see that. So here Styx is like really hammering on, apparently I have to establish residency in New Hampshire and show you how a real campaign is run. And I said, the very first thing I said when Styx says that he has to establish residency in New Hampshire, yes, please come to New Hampshire and get involved in the party and get more insight into why the campaign has been run like it has. But if you do, hopefully you don't defend threats as part of your platform. I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you fight this hard to defend threats of physical violence among your toxic audience members instead of just saying, bro, cut that shit out, you probably don't understand the non aggression principle. That was purposefully antagonistic, by the way. You can see that Styx really started to double down on the candidacy part here. He did that because he clearly wanted to move on from the main point that was triggering him as a deflection. He tried to transition the argument. He just didn't transition in a great direction. And here's where we're going to talk about a mistake that Styxhexenhammer made. See, here's another person. I don't know who this person is. And I strongly suspect that someone with a handle of the Zero Liberal Show has ever actually been a fan of this channel. I used to be a fan, but you still have your mean liberal attitude when someone disagrees with you. I disagree with you on a lot, but respect you for saying it. You don't give others the same thing. Bro, you never are in my chat. You never are in my comments. You never are involved in anything. I don't know who you are. You're just doing this to gaslight me. I'm going to put you in a timeout. You can think about it. If you can't control your feelings, don't come back. So the mistake that Styxhexenhammer made is he misjudged my priorities. Because, of course, if you only listen to gossip on the internet and you don't actually watch my content or engage with my content or are part of my community, what you're going to perceive is Carlin is just a grifter who just goes from party to party and she's just a grifter and that's all she does is grift and she's inauthentic and blah, 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 blah. So Styx misjudged my priorities because he doesn't know who I am or what I believe or any of those things. And the problem is that he thought that the run for governor, probably, my guess, was like an ego-driven thing where I was like, I need to be in the spotlight. And that's not what it was at all. And I would be more than happy for him to come to New Hampshire and do a better job than me because my priorities are not me being in the spotlight. I would actually, at this point, really like to be more behind the scenes, if I'm honest about it. And I'm making efforts to do that. I'm building entire programs that are intended to put me behind the scenes. Oh, goodness. Blocking more people. And so Styx misjudged my priorities. My priorities is not power and prestige for me. My priority is winning the long game. So, I'm fairly certain that he anticipated I would feel threatened or intimidated by someone with a larger following than me challenging me for the role of candidate. In other words, he thought I would be driven by ego and would want to defend my position above all else. So he's saying, if I ever get involved in state politics, I'll actually mount a campaign that can win. Do it, Styx. Emily, thank you for the super chat. I have been driving and couldn't chat in until now, but all the people complaining are people I never see in chat. Isn't that funny? I don't know why they are chatting in if they don't like listening to you anyway. Emily, not only are they chatting in, but they had to wait 20 minutes of being subscribed to my channel to get the opportunity to chat. The mistake Styx made was that he didn't properly evaluate my priorities. I've never spoken to Styx, and I have no idea what he knows about me. If he listens to online gossip, it seems likely he assumes I'm a grifter that just wants attention, and that's why I accepted the role of being a candidate for governor. He didn't anticipate that my real priority is winning the long game. By that I mean Liberty winning in New Hampshire. If there's a better candidate than me to run, I am more than happy to let that person do it and support them. I personally think Styx would make a great candidate for office. An even better one in New Hampshire. He would have a team of people from LPNH to help him run, no problem. The problem is that Styx lives in Holland, and New Hampshire has a 7-year residency requirement to run for governor. I am not showing the tweet that they wrote because I do not believe in encouraging people to make threats of violence. It seems to me that in his video, Styx may have talked about the tweet. And again, this is a reflection, and I know you're a troll because I never see you on my channel. This is a reflection of the fact that Styx and I have different values. Styx thinks it's perfectly okay for these people to be doing these things and promotes them and encourages them and all this shit. I don't do that. Yeah, what party were you grifting off of for 2 years calling yourself politically homeless? Also, if you wanted to grift, picking libertarian is legitimately the worst choice you could ever make. King Peter, you have listen, I could not believe when I joined the Libertarian Party how many people were like, "Grifter!" I was like, "Bro, I could have grifted off the conservatives for real for years. I could have made hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more, grifting off the conservatives. And instead, I chose to follow my principle and become a libertarian where you can't even grift if you try. It is the stupidest idea in the world to believe that someone joins the Libertarian Party to be a grifter. It is one of the most moronic things I've ever heard in my life. You have absolutely not been listening to my channel for 2 years. That is not the truth. I have never seen you show up. Don't bullshit a bullshitter. So I said I think he would make a great governor, and I told him he would make a great governor. So Styx said I could probably get more votes as a write-in than you on your faux libertarian platform. First of all, my platform for governor is designed 100% around separating the government from education. I literally support state secession in my platform. I support defend the guard in my platform. I support eliminate or making the property tax optional in my platform. I support defunding all state funded programs with equity in the title. I support extensive resources going into making New Hampshire the homeschool capital of the country in my platform. How is my platform in Styx's head faux libertarian? I have a more fucking libertarian platform than many of the libertarian candidates who are currently running today. Faux libertarian, Styx? Really? If you ever want to discuss my platform, you let me know, but I don't even think you know what my platform is. Anyway, so when Styx says, I'm going to come and run as a write-in candidate, I said, fucking do it then. Stop talking and actually try to do something. You think it's offensive to me if a libertarian can get votes? Put up or shut up. And then I followed that up with, Styx, I have news for you. While you're defending threats of violence, I have no problem saying that if you came to New Hampshire and got a metric ton of votes, I would cheer for you. One of us cares about actually winning more than they care about bullshit. And I want to show 2 other tweets too that I didn't put in this article. So in this one, you have multiple these are both free staters. These are both free staters and members of the LPNH, where Styx is like, I have to establish residency in New Hampshire and come run a real campaign. And they're responding saying, yes, come to New Hampshire, come to New Hampshire, come to New Hampshire. And I said, the 7-year residency requirement to run for governor isn't going to start till you get here, Styx. We're ready when you are. And then I also said, it would be amazing if he came here, got involved, met the residency requirement, and then ran. I'm all for it. I said multiple times that I thought it would be amazing if Styxhexenhammer came to New Hampshire to live and ran for governor, and I 100% mean it. I absolutely mean it. I'm not being facetious. I'm not being passive aggressive. I 100% mean it. Do I think that'll happen? Probably not. But So at that point, when I said Styx should absolutely come to New Hampshire and run for governor, that would be fucking awesome. Styx switched tactics and said, debate me, bro. And I basically said no. And I triggered him again. And then he said, well, I have 250,000 copies of literature and 6,000 people watching my stream every time. And dude, like, are we in a dick measuring competition or what? Well, then you won't mind if I block you then, so you can't chat in anymore. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I think you're here to troll and to be annoying. Goodbye. So I told Styx no when he said, debate me. And then he called me a coward. And I want to really read this because, listen, man, can we all agree that up until this point, I haven't insulted Styx? From what you guys have seen up until this point, I haven't insulted him at all, but he has called me a faux libertarian. He's called me a jerk. Or a joke rather, not a jerk, a joke. He's called me a coward. I haven't insulted him at all. And he has hurled multiple insults at me for disagreeing with him. Insults are an artful. Yeah, exactly. If he has to have a dick measuring contest with a woman, he must have started with the world's cruelest handicap. I'm not going to debate him. And if you say debate again in my chat, you're going to get blocked. And the only reason you're not getting blocked is because you sent in a previous chat begging me not to block you. But if you do this debate bro bullshit in my chat, I will block you. That is breaking the don't be a dick rule. I am not going to debate him. I am not going to be pressured into debating him. I don't debate. I have no interest in debating. I don't want to be part of that culture. I don't want to be exposed to that audience. It holds no interest to me at all. There is no value to me. I don't give a flying fuck if he'll apologize. A, I don't think that he will. B, I shouldn't have to do anything to get an apology that I have earned. So no, there will be no debate. Because the reason that Styx wants me to debate so badly after he ignored every single time I reached out to him over the past 2 years on issues that were actually important is all he's trying to do is regain control in this situation. That's it. This is not about the debate. The debate will accomplish nothing. No one will change their minds. I will get harassed by his audience incessantly. There is no point to it. It is not going to happen. Hard no. And I don't care how many people come into the comments and say, debate him, bro, you're a coward. And anyone who does is just going to get blocked from the channel, so I never have to hear from you again. Because I do not want this debate bro bullshit going on my channel. Have I not been clear? This is my fucking house. You don't come into my house and break my rules and act like raging lunatics and be permitted to stay. Because I say so. Insults are inartful. Generally, insults are a horrible way to trigger people. If for no other reason, then there is no creativity or originality to them. It's too easy. It's inartful. Using an insult to try to trigger someone is like going to a cheap whore when you could go to a high-class call girl instead. They are two different types of experiences. If you want to trigger someone, really go for it. Say something that is going to make them question who they are and what they really believe. Any fool can piss someone off. Triggering is an art form that should be treated with respect. But given that we were hours into this little exchange, at this point, I wasn't really surprised that Styx went there. I made the choice not to respond to the insult. After all, I have nothing to prove to Styx. He was trying to use his audience to bait me into a debate. Again, he incorrectly assessed my priorities, probably assuming I would do anything to get in front of his audience. Remember, he thinks I'm an attention seeking grifter. But particularly given the events of the day, his audience was not interesting to me in any way. Styx wins if I can't engage? No, frankly. I win because you just got blocked on my channel. Goodbye. I win. His audience was not interesting to me to be in front of. I don't think they align well with my purposes and goals and would probably just proceed to make my life difficult as they are right now. Additionally, I have a standing rule that I don't debate. And if I were going to debate on a topic, it would be the woke left ideology and how it's being deployed in schools, not big tech free speech. So I denied Styx what he wanted. Remember, it was my job to maintain control at this point, and instead switched the topic back to something he had tried to move on from. To twist the knife a little deeper, I reminded him that he moved on from it as a deflection. And you can see here, I said, I after he called me a coward, I tweeted him and I said, come to New Hampshire and get votes you claim to be able to get, or if we already moved on because you care more about being a debate bro than winning. Styx took a few more swings at me, but after several hours of this, it came from such an obviously triggered place, I mostly just swatted it away without paying as much attention. Where he's still insulting me, and I offered him some tea, and this is basically my summation of the triggering of Styxhexenhammer right here. And I pretty much stand by that summation. Yeah, Peter says Styx will take it as a win, so will Carlin. They are both correct. Different priorities and audiences. That's exactly right. We have different priorities and very different audiences, and that's okay. We are allowed to have different priorities and different audiences, and this is not a value judgment. I'm not saying that my audience is fundamentally better than Styx's or that Styx's audience is fundamentally better than mine. I don't believe in better or worse. I don't believe in right or wrong. But we're just very different and we're doing very different things. And it's okay for people to be in his audience and not in mine, or in my audience and not in his, or in both. I don't care if you watch him. I don't care. It makes no difference. The moral of the story is to learn to admit that you're wrong. Styxhexenhammer could have literally avoided hours of nonsense had he just acknowledged to himself that he was wrong and moved on with the rest of his day. He didn't even need to publicly acknowledge that I was right. We both knew it anyway. But he did need to admit to himself that he needed to take the L and walk away. When he didn't do that, things just got worse. I ended the exchange by thanking him very much for the case study. Hopefully, he learned something from the experience and returned stronger next time. So I wanted to show this to show you. I literally told Styxhexenhammer I was going to do this. I literally told him that I was going to make a case study out of this yesterday before I wrote it. I was extremely honest about it. There was no mistaking it. And that's not even the only place that I told him that. I also told him, you can see this. I told him multiple times that I was going to write this as a case study. And this is one of the fascinating parts about triggering people, is because you can flat out tell them what you are going to do. And they'll ignore you and not believe you. I tell people exactly what I'm going to do all the time. I say, here's how I'm going to trigger you, and here's what's going to happen when I trigger you. And they ignore it every single time. Just like Styx ignored it when I told him flat out that if he kept up the bullshit in no in like in I didn't use these exact words, but I told him, I'm like, I'm writing a case study about this. I even sent it from the Art of the Trigger account where I tagged him. So I woke up this morning. I posted this at 3 a.m. last night. And I woke up this morning to 19 fucking levels of re. So let's see. I woke up this morning to find out that Styx did a video about me. So he was reeing there. I woke up to find him continuing to complain about me. Um, I woke up to his audience members all over my channel saying, Carlin, do yourself a favor and drop all this shit because Styx because you're not strong enough to handle the clanking you're going to receive from his followers. Really? Really? I'm not strong enough to handle people coming into my comments and saying clank? Do these and I'm gonna show you guys the re. The re is glorious. But to Styx's hate to the people who are hate watching me right now, I have been bullied by people on the internet, legitimately bullied. This is not bullying. This is nonsense. I've been legitimately bullied and harassed every day of my life for 2 straight years. If you idiots think that I can't handle you being annoying in my comments, you got another thing coming. And I'm going to show you some of the things they've been doing. Let's see. So this is, oh, here we go. So he actually, I tweeted out, I said, I literally told Styx and his audience I was going to do this. I literally told them I was going to write a case study about triggering him. I literally showed him the thumbnail and they didn't listen. They walked right into it. It's just amazing. And then Styx fucking retweeted it. I'm not triggered. You are, because Styx is trying to perpetuate this story that I'm the one that's triggered. When I gotta be honest, I think it's pretty obvious to anyone who's actually watching this from a place of rationality. I think it's pretty obvious what's going on. Maybe that's just me. You doing okay there? Oh yeah, Styx, I'm doing just fine. Let me show you guys. So he just kept tweeting about me again. He's tweeting about me again. Earth the Carlin, you being criticized for being a faker and obsessed. Like, this is what I'm talking about when I say debate bro bullshit. I really thought that Styx was better than this. And again, I'm really trying to give him the benefit of the doubt that he has a young baby that is probably keeping him up at night so he's not sleeping. And he has been tweeting about me all day. All day. Again today. I'm responsible for your current triggered state. I'm not the one who's triggered. This is all in my Twitter account. He's complaining that I won't debate him still. He's complaining that I won't debate him still. Like, and then he says, check this out. He says, I'm done entertaining you. You'll have to find some other attention grift. But he wasn't done because right before I went live on the stream, he was still fucking tweeting about me. Right before I went on the stream, he was still tweeting about me. So I understand that he has chill mannerisms, but he has been tweeting about me almost nonstop for 2 straight days. He has sent his audience into my comments. Let me show you guys. Let me show you guys some of the comments that I got on this. And let me show you guys what I mean when I say I will not tolerate this debate bro audience. Now, to be really blunt, all of these people, once I am done this stream and once I'm done documenting what like how content creators weaponize their midwit audiences to try to coerce people into doing something they want him to do. What Styx is doing right now is he's using his audience to try to take control back from me and to pressure me into agreeing to debate him, which is not going to happen. But he really thinks that if he sends his audience into my feed to annoy me and to name call and to insult, that somehow is going to make me bend the knee to what he wants, and that's just not going to happen. But really, I want to show you who his audience is that I don't like. And again, I'm not suggesting that everyone in Styx audience is like this, but these people are the reason that I will never participate in this debate culture. I find these people to be deplorable. I'll fucking say it. I find them to be awful, awful, awful people. I don't want to be around them. So you can see, it's amazing how much this is backfiring on you, Carolyn. Yikes. Ratio. Really, Karen? Early predicting, but I don't think this is going to go the way you intended. I thought you would like Styx. You called him intelligent, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's actually true. I actually had a good interaction with that person. That person's fine. If I cope harder, it'll be okay. Well, okay, here's the thing though. And what Peter is saying is that I have more of a personality than Styx, and so people are going to assume that I'm the one that's triggered. That's because I have more of a personality than Styx. I'm sorry, I'm not autistic, and that's not a shade at autistic people, but I don't have that. They tend to not present like I do. So if people think that I'm the one that's triggered because I have a personality, they are the ones that are not looking rationally at the situation to see that Styx has been talking about me for 2 straight days and he doesn't appear to be stopping. Heather says triggering people into obsession is a dangerous power. Heather, I really didn't realize I had this power until like the last couple months. But look at these people. She literally wrote a book about being on the left. No, she didn't. That's wrong. We've got gifts. I'm not seeing Styx tweeting or making videos about it. Well, he literally did make a video about it. We're still going to watch his video. So look at this. This person apparently thinks I'm running against Caroline Levitt, which is not correct. Like, they think that they're really showing me by putting spoon emojis. You're a grifter. You're a grifter, man. Like, these are who I want nothing to do with. Nothing to do with these people. And this isn't even the only place they are. This is just one tweet. One single tweet. All these people are going to get blocked as soon as I'm done documenting this. And it's going to be beautiful. Things are going to be so quiet. But I want to show you this too. Check this out. This is my channel. They are all over my YouTube comments. And look at this. This is how they gaslight you. This woman, who I don't know who Nancy is. So here's the point I want to make. And this is a point that I wish someone had. Oh yeah. Oh, they call me a turf. Oh yeah. They call me a turf. They call me a leftist. They call me a grifter. This is the point I want to make, that I really, 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 really wish someone had told me 2 years ago. When a large creator or one with a well-known audience targets you by weaponizing their audience against you, which, by the way, guys, don't ever do this shit on someone else's channel on my behalf. I don't want that at all. I don't want to be associated with that. But what happens when a well-known creator weaponizes their audience against you is their audience will come into your channel and into your comments, and they're going to say things like, "I have been a fan of yours for so long, but you have just changed so much and I just have to unsubscribe." Even if they've never commented on your channel before, even if they've never participated in your chat before, even if you've never seen them show up before, because what they're trying to do is gaslight you into submission. This has happened to me now on multiple occasions. And the first time this happened to me, I had no idea what was happening. No idea at all. And I really thought that all these people that had been on my channel for like the past year before it happened to me, they all think I've changed. What did I do? What's wrong with me? Like, I really freaked out the first time this happened to me until I realized that they're all lying. That this is a technique that they use to gaslight you. So let me read this comment from Nancy. Oh shit. Hang on. Hang on. Come back. Oh, I'm trying to find a nice balance. There we go. Nancy says, "I used to love you, Carlin, and supported your locals." No, she didn't. That's not true. That's a lie. "I've also sent Styx money for some time. I'm only here to say that I kept watching and supporting Styx, which is how I heard about this, and stopped watching and supporting you for this very thing. You never stopped fighting with people over some petty stuff." Nancy never came to investigation streams, never came to the Unwoke streams, never came to Socialism Saturday streams, never came to the streams where we have talked about things of substance. The only thing that Nancy seems to focus on are the streams that are drama. So if Nancy was ever a part of my community, she never came to anything involving my community. And my regulars will say that. Sin is here all the time. Never seen her. Never happened. Alexandra, who has been here since pretty much the beginning, laughing my ants off. Nancy ain't no locals peep. No, she's not. Nancy, who's that? No. She's never contributed. This is gaslighting. That's all this is. And you need to be aware that it's gaslighting. Because like if you like I really hope that like people who may be starting a channel, or maybe I'll make a clip of this, like if you're starting a channel or your channel's growing, this will probably happen to you at some point. Yeah. Jan's never seen her. Incognito's never seen her. None of my regulars know who she is. Because she's not really a fan and probably never was. But this is what creator audiences do. Grandma Nay doesn't know her. You know? They try to gaslight you, and this is how they try to have control over you. This is how they try to control you to say the words that you want them to say. Emily's never seen her. My channel is full of this. Well, so Stevie says, I subbed about a month ago. And Stevie has been active since that time. Not sure why people would lie about that. They're lying about it to try to gaslight me. They do this shit all the time, not just to me. It's to try to gaslight me and it's also to try to gaslight other people. They're trying to make people believe, "Oh, Carlin has just changed so much and I just have to unsubscribe from her channel." They're trying to make other people unsubscribe from the channel. And it does work. But if you're going to unsubscribe from my channel because some gaslighter in my comments said something, then I didn't have you anyway, and it's probably best to part ways. Yep. Judy hasn't seen her. Brooklyn Way hasn't seen her. It's Nancy Pelosi, I'm sure. So look at this. This is filled. People saying, "Drop the subject and don't speak about it again." Fuck you, Chris. Look at this bitch. "Drop this subject and don't speak about it again, and it will only turn even uglier. There is a growing list of people you can't work with, and you gotta look inward." No, I don't. I absolutely do not need to look inward. 100%. Well, Redwood, I know who you are. I know who you are. You comment, you participate. See, here's someone that you know is lying. I remember seeing your videos several years ago. I haven't been doing this for several years. I haven't been doing this for several years. How could you remember seeing my videos several years ago when I haven't been doing this for several years? And I will ban you from commenting. Look, so this person is talking about Ramsey Paul. That person is an alt-right lunatic. I know exactly who that person is. Yeah, don't speak about this again. A weird line for people coming from someone who claims to be a libertarian, but my comments are full with it. Miss K knows her community very well and are friends with most of us. Very easy for her to spot the fakers. Yes, it is. It's against my better judgment to comment and boost engagement on this nonsense, but I like you, Carlin. Someone I've never heard of before. You're in the wrong here. You overreacted. Never heard of this person before. So, oh, someone who's defending Adam for his appalling behavior. This goes on and on and on and on. Now, again, all of these people are going to be blocked sooner rather than later. I just wanted to keep this up to show you guys. And it's not even just there. Let's look in the comments. They're all over my comments on this Substack too. Yeah, no lurker accounts act like this. That's exactly right. No, well, they don't act like this. If you're a lurker, you're not going to go fucking insane in someone's comments. You're just going to leave. Now that I see more of what went on, I don't blame you if you never want to even have a discussion with Styx. Sorry for suggesting it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, Peter, we know who you are though because you participate in the chat. I don't require people do everything in my community. That would be near impossible. But Peter, you come to chat all the time. We know who you are. But look at the comments. Look at the comments. I failed to see how any of this triggered him. He seems to be trying to address your trolling. This is absolutely pathetic. You've got real mental problems. Mike Harlow completely destroyed you, and Carrie Smith too. I date pedophiles, okay? So we know we can't take Todd seriously. This is the most hyperbolic, most liberal, least libertarian, and most emotionally driven post I've seen in a while. Check this out. A post in which I said, Styx and I have different values and we can believe different things and I don't really care. This person is saying, this is the most hyperbolic, most liberal, least libertarian, and most emotionally driven post I've seen in a while. This person claims to be a libertarian, is going against all liberal values because she and not Styxhexenhammer got triggered. The art of projection. You're the living embodiment of the Dunning-Kruger effect. This is all from Styx audience. And here's the one I really wanted to show you guys. Look at who got mentioned. Incognito. Look at who got mentioned from Styx's audience. Lizard, quote, it's not an airport. You don't have to announce your departure. So I have had multiple comments from people who are coming from the white identitarian audience that has been attacking me ever since June of 2021. I've got most of them blocked now, so they can't really. But that guy, that's a white identitarian. That's extremist alt-right. And that audience, I am not suggesting that Styxhexenhammer is, because I don't think he is. Ramsey Paul, yes. Ramsey Paul is absolutely connected with these jackasses. I don't think Styxhexenhammer is, though. However, there is absolutely overlap between that white identitarian bullshit and Styxhexenhammer's audience. I'm not suggesting that everyone in his audience is involved in this, because they are not. But I do find it very telling that those people are coming to defend him, because it means that Styx is playing to extremely bad people. I am not suggesting that he agrees with them. I'm not suggesting that he's part of that movement. Styx distance himself from Ramsey Paul and thinks he's too extreme. That's fucking great. I am actually really glad to hear that. Ramsey Paul is absolutely connected with these people. And I'm thrilled to hear that Styx has distanced himself from him. That's a good decision. Incognito, I should get a $2 tip jar someday. You should get a $2 tip jar, Incognito. So this is all over my social media. Oh, look, someone went so far as to find a very old picture of me when I had short hair and put a clown nose on it. Isn't that fun of them? So all of these people are going to be blocked. All of them. I just wanted to show you guys what was going on. All right, guys, now we're going to do the main attraction, which is what I'm going to do is watch Styxhexenhammer's video about me. I know you've all been waiting almost 2 hours for this, but I had a lot to say. Now, it is my understanding that, well, let me just, as we get into this video, let's see. Libertarian New Hampshire governor candidate Borisenko flips at me, declines debate. So I have people in my comments going, at least he didn't make a video about you. Well, he did make a video about me, which I think I intuited that. But I want people to remember, as we watch this, a couple of things. Number one, I have been a member of the Libertarian Party and the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire since April of 2021. I communicate with the people in the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire almost every single day. I got nominated for governor by Ian Friedman at the state convention when he didn't tell me he was nominating me for governor before he did it. I accepted knowing that all of the resources of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire were going to be put into Jeremy Kauffman's campaign, including my energy, and that mine was just pretty much a name on the ballot. All of that was agreed upon, and something that I had talked about even prior to getting nominated, which you can find evidence on my channel. And the final reminder that I want to give to people before we watch this video is that I told Styxhexenhammer multiple times yesterday, at least 4 times, that if he wanted to come to New Hampshire and run for governor, I would 1000% support it. And if he's able to come and get more votes than me, I think that would be fucking amazing. I would cheer it. I would be ecstatic for him to do it. And I'm not being facetious. If Styx can come and run a candidacy that can get a significant amount of votes and win, potentially, maybe, in a land of fantasy, but you know what, I mean, that would actually really be amazing. If he can do that, then fucking do it. No. I know who you are because you've come to my locals calls before. So this is why I'm not blocking you. I know who you are. But you don't get to tell me what to say, and you don't get to tell me how to handle things. But I know who you are, and so I'm not blocking you. I will block everyone else that I don't know that are being assholes in the chat. So, I am completely in favor of Styx coming to New Hampshire and running for governor, and I would be thrilled beyond measure if he got more votes than me, which I stated multiple times yesterday. Let's just keep that in mind as we're watching this here video.
All right, everyone, now it's time to talk about the so-called libertarian candidate for governor.
So-called libertarian candidate for governor. How much do you want to bet that Styxhexenhammer doesn't even know my platform? How much do you want to bet that he hasn't bothered to look into my platform that I'm running on or watch any of the videos that I've made, because I think I've made at least 4 at this point, about how I became the libertarian nominee for governor? Jess says I'd put money on that. Let's do this real quick. Hang on. 1 sec. 1 sec, guys. Hang on. I just want to show you guys something real quick. Bing. If Styxhexenhammer wanted to know what my platform was, I have a website. It's carlinlovesnh.com. It has a video of me participating in a debate from Porkfest. It has my platform on it, where cameras in classrooms on day 1, that's designed to turn the public against the public schools, defunding all programs with equity in the title, making property tax optional, protecting kids from state indoctrination, that's also about turning the public against the public schools, making New Hampshire the capital of homeschooling, getting the government out of education. Comments like pro-choice with common sense, legalizing weed and psychedelics, putting secession on the ballot. I also have been a vocal supporter of Defend the Guard. Styx had the resources to be able to do this. I would really like for someone to explain to me what is not libertarian about my platform. What is faux libertarian about my platform? Hopefully we'll get an answer to that in the course of Styx's little cry video about me.
In the state of New Hampshire. Now, as a libertarian myself, in the marginal and, large tent sense at least, I lean more classical liberal or constitutionalist, I guess.
So Styx is probably less libertarian than I am if he leans classical liberal. Because where I'm at right now, I'm basically an ANCAP. Listen, it took me a minute to get to being an ANCAP. It was a fucking process. But mostly, I think that government is completely fucking incompetent. Anything they touch will be destroyed. And my general position right now is that I would be in favor of pretty much burning government down and starting again. I'm not saying build up a new government, but that's basically where I am. I'm basically an ANCAP right now. I think all he knows is that Carlin is Mises caucus. That is probably all he knows.
It pains me to see this because when the Mises caucus took over the Libertarian Party and got rid of the Jorgensens and people like that for the most part, I think that the party definitely improved. I'm not a registered member of the LP. I don't believe in joining political parties at large anyway.
So Styx is saying that he would come to New Hampshire to run as a libertarian when he refuses to get in the game and join the fucking Libertarian Party? I mean, I guess I understand it more, like, I understand it on a principle basis. It's the same reason I understand that, like, why some libertarians refuse to vote. Because they don't believe in democracy. But, like, you know, to honestly say that I'm going to come to New Hampshire and run for governor, but I refuse to join a party, that's just unrealistic, man.
You know, you can donate to them without registering with a party, just to be clear. And in most states, you have an open primary system, so don't worry about it too much. This is rather disappointing. I'm just going to go through some of this verbatim. It's Karlin Borisenko, and she's running for...
So he's going through what verbatim? Is he going through my platform verbatim? Wait. So am I going to be surprised? Did Styxhexenhammer actually read my platform after he called me a so-called libertarian and called my credentials into question? Is he actually going to read my platform on the stream to explain to people why I'm not really a libertarian? Is that what's about to happen?
For governor in New Hampshire. Now, New Hampshire is sort of like the granddaddy of the modern libertarian movement state. You've got the Free State movement and Porkfest and all of these things. So it's arguably the most libertarian of states, and it's getting more and more, which is good, by the way. Whether you're ANCAP or more classically liberal, there's progress being made. And the Democrats are not lashing out at the LP in New Hampshire for no reason. They feel threatened. What they're afraid of is that they'll start appealing to liberal voters on issues like drugs, and then they'll start losing against Republicans. Hell, who gives a fucking goddamn shit? Some of the Republicans are shit too, just to be clear. I'm not one of those either. Here's her response, though. I was posting about Tulsi Gabbard the other...
So it seems as though Styx, who again started his little video calling me a so-called libertarian, isn't going to read my platform to prove that I'm not really a libertarian? Is that what I'm hearing? Am I hearing that Styxhexenhammer, before declaring on his channel that I'm a so-called libertarian, didn't even bother to investigate my platform for governor, which is all about separating education and government and making property tax optional and supporting secession? I'm still really waiting for evidence or receipts for why my platform is so-called libertarian or faux libertarian. Maybe we'll get to them. We got another 8.5 minutes of the video.
Day. And I think that we actually agree on Gabbard, me and Borisenko
yes,
here.
Yes, we do.
I think that Tulsi Gabbard is an opportunist. Her campaigning for Masters and Kari Lake looks awfully and suspiciously like trying to dovetail herself in with a successful candidacy that she thinks will eventually ascend to the presidency.
We agree.
I think she expects that Kari Lake has a good chance of winning. And if she throws some of the left independents that followed her out of the Dem party to Kari Lake in a 50-50 sum game, that might tilt her over the edge. And I think that Tulsi Gabbard wants a position there at some point. I think that
Tulsi Gabbard is trying to position herself for the Republican vice presidential nomination in 2024. Or if she doesn't get the vice presidential nomination, I think she's trying to position herself for a cabinet level position under Ron DeSantis. And I do agree with Styx on this. In fact, there's even a video of me calling Tulsi Gabbard out at an event that I went to with the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, where I got screamed at by 3 Republicans for calling Tulsi Gabbard out.
Expects Kari Lake to become a president, and she wants to be on the short list for Secretary of State or something like that. Gabbard is definitely not unintelligent. She's very strategically minded. I doubt whether she actually has the true ideological backing behind what she's doing. I'm hesitant because she still hasn't fully recanted her deep anti-gunnery, which was already mild by comparison to some Democrats anyway. Anyway, I think we agree on that. One of my subscribers posted a picture of her, I think insinuating that she was a leftoid.
Yes.
She's, got the Zoomer haircut, and I guess this.
Well, that haircut was from literally 4 years ago. Well, I mean, I still have basically the same haircut, but like that was a picture from 2017. Like that's an old picture.
It's indicative of political views now or something. I don't agree with that. But my subscriber made a hyperbolic reference to physical removal in their response to her. I can't remember her original response. The original tweet was deleted by my subscriber. It did not contain a credible threat. It
contained a threat that Styx does not believe is credible. But again, it doesn't matter if it was credible or not. Making a threat of physical violence is against the non-aggression principle. It does not matter what the intent of the person was. I am not a mind reader. Styx is not a mind reader. I have people make threats against me every single day on Twitter, partially because people like Styx lie about me to their extremist, mentally unhinged audiences. And I'm not suggesting that everyone in Styx's audience is mentally unhinged. I think the vast majority of them are perfectly fine, well-adjusted people. But there is absolutely a portion of his audience that is mentally unhinged, which is probably true of every content creator on the planet. And when he makes videos lying about me, those mentally unhinged people come on Twitter and start making threats and saying stupid shit. I'm not a mind reader. Styx isn't a mind reader. And so I'm going to make the assumption that if you are mentally unhinged enough to make a threat of physical violence, that's probably something that we shouldn't just dismiss as like, oh, it's just hyperbolic because it happens every day. And even the mere threat of physical violence is a violation of the non-aggression principle. That's just reality. Styx doesn't want to admit that, but that's reality.
Clearly hyperbolic. It was clearly meant to be amusing. If you're on the internet, you're going to encounter that constantly.
No, it wasn't amusing to me. It's not amusing to me when these debate bro audiences say things that are absurd, have no basis in reality at all, and then make threats of physical violence. That's not amusing to me. If it happened to me in real life, I would report that shit to the manager of whatever establishment I was in where it happened. And if I wasn't in an establishment, I would go to the fucking police. Because you don't make threats of physical violence. And if you want to do that shit in public, listen, if there's any phrase that libertarians love, it's fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out, man. You make threats of physical violence in public, fuck around, find out. The level to which you find out will be directly proportional to the level at which you fuck around.
She then flipped out.
I didn't flip out.
First at the subscriber and said, well, thank you for making it so easy to get your account banned. And I waited and said,
that's not flipping out. If that's the definition that Styx has of flipping out, God, I would hate to see what actually happens when someone flips out.
Well, it's very confusing to me to see the libertarian candidate for governor there claiming that she wants to get, one of my clankers banned. A presumably libertarian subscriber, if you're following that thread, there might be a political correlation there.
So it's confusing to Styx why a libertarian might not like it when someone breaks the non-aggression principle? Yeah, it doesn't sound like flipping out, Styx. Why is it confusing that someone might not like it when someone breaks the non-aggression principle, Styx?
Clankdom is a very liberty-loving path. I presume that a large plurality of...
Okay, I'm sorry. I just cannot take someone seriously that says clankdom is a liberty-loving path. Styxhexenhammer is not the sole arbiter of what is libertarian and what is not. And if someone makes a threat of physical violence against me, I absolutely 100% have the right to defend myself. Fuck around and find out.
If my subscribers are libertarians. Most of my subscribers are in the US and Canada. There's a beefy libertarian movement in the United States. I have a feeling it's probably in the six-figure margin as far as the proportion of my subscribers. There's a good chance this individual at least has some libertarian leanings. And then she's talking about, getting...
This person has like 22 followers on Twitter. We're not talking about a significant account. We're talking about someone who trolls on Twitter, has probably gotten his account banned on multiple occasions from trolling on Twitter. Styx is making this out to be like a federal case, like all of my subscribers must be libertarians, and so she must allow threats of violence from my subscribers. No, dude, I don't. Sorry, we disagree. Yeah. Threats are snippety snappity. You violated the nappity. Exactly, Catherine.
them banned, and I reacted angrily. I'm like, this is, bullshit.
Oh wait, you reacted angrily? What Styx, what was that? What was that? You did I just hear right? Did Styx just admit that he reacted angrily? Let's just rewind that part. Let's just use a couple seconds. Just a couple seconds. Let's just hear that again.
Then she's talking about, getting them banned, and I reacted angrily. I'm like,
you reacted angrily? You did, huh? I would like to ask my chat, what might another word for reacting angrily mean? If someone says, I reacted angrily on Twitter, what phrase might that conjure to mind? What phrase might we use to describe the act of reacting angrily on Twitter? Could that be triggered, Styx? Could that be triggered? Styx, were you triggered? You were triggered? Is that what you just told us, Styx? That you reacted angrily because you were triggered? Is that it? Thank you for admitting what we already knew, honey. I appreciate it. It makes it so much easier when we just say the quiet part out loud, doesn't it?
Like, this is, bullshit. You're a libertarian candidate for governor. Stick to your guns, in the literal and figurative sense. She then declared my audience toxic.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a flat out lie. I did not declare his audience toxic. I said the toxic members of your audience. I did not say 100% of your audience was toxic. I said the toxic members of your audience. Styxhexenhammer is smart enough to know the difference between those two statements. Peter says, I think Carlin is arguing freedom of association, not government sanction. I mean, I don't know when Twitter became a government entity. I mean, isn't it rather ironic? Listen, here's the deal. Styxhexenhammer has said repeatedly, report him to the police, report him to the police, report him to the police. I reported him to Twitter. Twitter is not a government entity. I didn't run to the state. I didn't run to the cops. I reported him to Twitter to deal with the situation. Styx is quite literally arguing that it would have been more preferable for me to report that person who made the threat of physical violence against me to the state. He wanted me to run to the cops. Am I living in an alternate universe where all of a sudden the libertarians embrace the cops? Am I crazy? Did I just make that up? Why is Styxhexenhammer advocating that I go to the state? That is not libertarian. I'm sorry, you want me to stick to my gun sticks? I didn't go to the fucking feds. Are you shitting me? Yeah. So he wants to deal with armies of law enforcement. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yes, this is verbatim. I've got it archived, link in the description, of course. Ah, yes, these people are the ones we should be looking to as role models. Thanks for reminding me why I don't engage with content creators and their toxic audiences. Styx, I'll show myself out while your followers feed their outrage addiction for the rest of the day.
Yes, and Styxhexenhammer's audience has been feeding their outrage addiction on my Twitter, in my YouTube, on my Substack ever since. The actions of Styxhexenhammer's audience that I showed you guys earlier, they're doing exactly what I said they were going to do. They're doing exactly what I said they were going to do. So Styx is saying that I'm 100% correct, that there are members of his audience that are addicted to outrage, and there are members of this audience that are toxic. Sounds to me like he keeps admitting that I was correct in everything that I said. Well, Twitter's not the state. If Styxhexenhammer is... Well, I mean, here's the thing though, Peter. Styxhexenhammer is saying I should have gone to the state. He's saying I should have reported it to the cops. Twitter is not the cops. What Styxhexenhammer is arguing that I do is like measurably worse by a libertarian standard than me reporting someone who made a threat of physical violence to me to Twitter. When did I use the word members? Repeatedly. Go look at the tweets on artofthetrigger.com. I said members of, like, toxic members of your audience repeatedly. I use the word members repeatedly. He's leaving that out because it's not convenient to his story. He's going to leave other stuff out too. Wait for it.
Pro tip, she didn't find her way out. She continued to goddamn antagonize for several hours.
No, you kept quote tweeting me, Styx, and I kept responding to you because you were giving me amazing fucking content for Art of the Trigger. Okay, guys, pro tip. If you are interacting with someone who literally is running and promoting a brand new website called Art of the Trigger, and you have some sort of expectation that they're not going to be looking for trigger-worthy content for that website, I just don't think that's proper decision-making. I don't think that that's a logical conclusion to draw. I have been tweeting about Art of the Trigger since I launched it like a week ago. I have been tweeting it all the time. Someone could literally just look at my Twitter account and see Art of the Trigger, 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 all over it. So what Styx is saying is that he didn't bother to do his due diligence. He kept quote tweeting me, thinking I would back down and just bend the knee to his whim. And then he tried to turn it around and blame it on me so that he could make it look like I'm the one that was triggered and he wasn't, when he fell right into the trap that I fucking set for him. And again, I don't think Styxhexenhammer is a bad guy. I think he's incredibly smart. I don't have an issue with him. But he's wrong on this one. Yeah. So he says I'm not a legit libertarian because I wouldn't take being threatened. Now he's trying to cancel you with his video. It is our right to defend ourselves, Styx. It is not libertarian to tell someone that they can't defend themselves when a threat of physical violence is made, dude, and the intent of the person making the threat doesn't really matter. I am allowed to defend myself when someone makes a threat of physical violence against me. And if they don't like it, then they need to stop fucking around. William, Dr. KB, come to Anarchapulco? Anarchapulco, join the dark side. Well, we're building in Capistan in New Hampshire. All right. My dogs just started barking for some reason. Let's wrap this up.
This is quite common among leftoids. I'm thinking we're seeing a pattern here. And then I said,
oh, so now he got triggered on Twitter and now he's calling me a leftist because he got fucking triggered and couldn't stop talking about me all day and even into today. See, content creators are so fucking lazy with their insults. I know that was just insulting what I just said, so I'm acknowledging the irony of it. Content creators are so fucking lazy with their insults. If literally the best you have is, I got triggered because you said things I didn't like on Twitter, and now I'm going to call you a leftist on my channel as retribution, without even bothering to look at your platform for governor, so I don't realize that it is an incredibly libertarian platform. Because I didn't even bother to look at it. I just assumed that you were a leftist.
Why is the LP's New Hampshire gubernatorial candidate calling my plurality libertarian audience toxic? What timeline have I shifted to? Lol.
What timeline have I shifted to where a libertarian thinks it's ideal to go to the cops? What timeline have I shifted to? Where someone who's saying they're a libertarian is like, go to the feds.
At that point, it became humorous. I'm like, I couldn't even believe what I'm fucking reading. And she responded, why is a libertarian defending someone who threatened me with physical violence in clear violation of the NAP?
Yep.
And then continuing to explain that I defended myself even after I explained that I was threatened with physical violence by his audience members.
Yep.
Firstly, you're using a plural. It was one individual that you had a problem with. The tweet was deleted. You are calling for...
The tweet was deleted after I told him I reported him to Twitter. Then he deleted the tweet because he knew what was going to happen. He knew he would get his account banned. And that's why he deleted the tweet. Yes, he also just assumed that his follower was just a really stand-up guy, just a normal libertarian. You know, I mean, again, I understand that I haven't been involved with the libertarians as long as some people, and I acknowledge that. That's just the way it works out, man. We all have our own timelines. But I have been pretty heavily involved for the past year and a half, and this is the first time I've ever had someone make a threat of physical violence against me. Like, dude. Yeah, that was the issue. He made an assumption. I wouldn't assume that someone who goes from a photo of you that I don't like to threat of physical violence in one fucking exchange, I'm not going to assume that that's a good mentally balanced person. I mean, maybe Styx does. I don't know. But I don't want to make that assumption at all.
Or a tech firm. You're calling for daddy right now.
You're calling for the cops. I made a report to a platform and you think I should go to the cops.
Twitter to ban one of my followers. Apparently you can't understand why I would chuff at that slightly. Secondly, here's my solution. It's a libertarian solution. If you're offended, turn it off. If it's a credible threat and you really feel that my subscriber, that my Twitter follower here is making a credible threat against you and it's actionable, then they're going to follow through with it. They're going to take power, I guess, and abuse you or something.
Wait for
Call the cops.
Call the cops.
File a police report.
So you are literally saying that it is more preferable from a libertarian perspective to go to the cops. I wonder if I did a poll of libertarians, how many of them would feel that it is more appropriate to go to the cops than it is to report someone to a platform when they have an anonymous account with 22 followers. Let me poll you guys. Yeah, I'll poll people. I'll poll people in the chat. Hang on, let me set it up. Poll. Which is the more libertarian thing to do when threatened with physical violence? Report to platform. Hang on, I need to spell it correctly. Report to cops. There we go. Poll in the chat. Right now. I seriously cannot believe that Styx with a straight face is saying that it is more preferable to go to the cops and calling himself the libertarian. Cider said, did he just say LOL out loud? Yes, he did, Cider. Yes, he did. All right, I'm going to let that poll run in the chat, and we're going to see how that levels out.
Court. Go before a court. Make a sworn statement. Do something like that. Don't bitch about it on the...
So go to the feds. Go to the feds. He wants those trained militias, as in law enforcement agencies, at his doorstep. You literally cannot make this shit up. Styx, are you literally telling me that me sending fucking law enforcement to that guy's doorstep would have been a better situation for him than reporting him to fucking Twitter? And then, by the way, telling him I reported him to Twitter to try to get him to delete the fucking tweet? Because it worked out beautifully. It worked out exactly like I wanted it to. He deleted the fucking tweet, problem solved. Twitter didn't ban his account because he deleted the tweet. You're honestly saying, with a straight face, Styx, that it would have been more preferable for me to send the cops to that guy's doorstep than it was for me to give him a gentle nudge to act like a normal human being and not engage in threats of physical violence on Twitter. Really? Really? Libertarian.
The internet for clout, trying to go after my audience to get attention, because that appears to be what the entire goal was.
No, I don't want your audience. If the entire goal was to get attention from Styxhexenhammer's audience, then why wouldn't I accept his demand that I debate him? Yes. Now, to be fair, we are just a very tiny bit biased, but ruining someone's life over a tweet probably isn't the best, most hinged into reality response. Why does Styxhexenhammer want me to try to ruin the life of one of his audience members and put him in a cage over a fucking tweet? But to really drive the point about Styx saying, she just wants attention, she just wants attention, she just wants attention. Okay, really, Styx, if I wanted attention from your audience, then why didn't I accept your demand to debate you? It's not because I'm afraid of you. If I wanted attention from your audience, then I would have accepted it in about 3.5 seconds. But I don't want attention from your audience. I have said repeatedly I don't want attention from your audience. In fact, I'm probably going to be spending a good bit of time over the next couple of days blocking every member of your audience that is reeing in my comments everywhere after I document their reeing to create another case study for Art of the Trigger.
I guess your candidacy is not exactly up to par. You expect not to break 5 or something like that, so
Nope.
You've decided to clout chase. Fucking...
Well, I mean, how would Styx even know how my candidacy is doing? Because it seems to me that he hasn't even bothered to look at my platform. Again, he's making more assumptions and he is way off. Carlin does not want to deal with other content creators' audiences. LOL, he flip-flops on one audience himself to multiple audience, as in more of his followers. Yep.
Condoning threats of physical violence to get likes and RTs on Twitter. It's a deeply principled position, Styx. Thank you for showing me who you really are.
Yes.
That's what you were doing, dude. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, Styx, you're showing us you want people to be reported to the cops. Revealing, I seriously, I cannot fucking, like, it's different for me hearing this now. Like, it's different for me hearing his voice actually saying, go to the cops, than it was hearing it, like, on Twitter where I don't have to hear his voice. It is unbelievable from a libertarian perspective. I know I've said this 18 times already. I'm going to say it for the 19th and possibly even a 20th. It is unbelievable that Styxhexenhammer is truly arguing that I should have reported an anonymous Twitter account to the cops to try to ruin someone's life over a tweet. And it seems as though 67% of you agree with me that the proper response was to report it to the platform to get the tweet removed, because you don't want to give the impression that you are okay with people making threats of physical violence against you. We teach people how to treat us. If I allow one person to make a threat of physical violence against me without doing anything about it and letting that just stay up, then I am sending the message that everyone can make threats of physical violence against me, and I'm just not open to that. Just not open to it. But what I'm not going to do, Styx, is try to ruin someone's life by reporting them to the cops, which is what you are advocating for. I actually, in this case, have a much more libertarian position than you do, and I also have a much more measured response to the situation than you do. So you can whine and complain all you like about censorship, censorship, censorship. You wanted to send an armed fucking militia to that guy's door. Bro. Pro tip for anyone who, like, is not aware, libertarians don't tend to like cops.
You're the one who's clout chasing here.
No.
I reacted in defense of one of my followers by pointing out your hypocrisy and the irony of you being the LP's New Hampshire gubernatorial candidate, saying that you're going to try to get someone banned on a tech platform. I find that ironic. By the way,
I find it ironic that you are pretending to be the libertarian one among us when you are advocating going to the cops. So we're both, again, Styx, we just have different values. We really do. We just have different values. Maybe Styxhexenhammer thinks it's appropriate to report someone to the cops over a tweet. I do not think it's appropriate to report someone to the cops over a tweet. I don't. I want the tweet to be dealt with. I want it removed. But I don't think it's correct to send the police to someone's doorstep over a tweet. Again, Styx and I just have different values.
You're not the first so-called libertarian I've called out for this kind of fucking horse shit. You remember Jorgensen? Jorgensen, I called her out as well. She was...
Am I supposed to be impressed that Styx called out Joe Jorgensen? Because I called out Joe Jorgensen too, and I wasn't even a libertarian yet. That wasn't even that hard. I mean, again, Styx is swearing at me. He's insulting me. He's making things up about my positions when he doesn't even know my positions because he hasn't even taken the time to read my platform. And he's arguing that people should have the police show up at their doorstep over a tweet. I just think that people can make their own conclusions here about who is really triggered and who is not. And by the way, Styx looks very tired, probably because he has an infant that is keeping him up all night, so he's not sleeping, which is why he was so easy to trigger. He needs to get some sleep. Have some tea. Relax. Smoke a joint. It's gonna be okay.
Was the presidential candidate the last time around. She was at one point praising Facebook for banning a bunch of hate-filled and extreme groups. I'm pointing out the irony that a libertarian self-professed not only supports tech censorship, but actually goes along with the mainstream media lie that everything that is labeled hateful or disinfo or problematic because pink-haired freaks complained about it, that's even true. Most of the time, it's not true. So shame on Jorgensen, and shame on you as well. Please explain how threatening someone with physical anything is not an NAP violation. I'll wait. Oh yeah, here's the original tweet. Here, I'll pull that up. If I can actually, is it archived? No? Ah, shit. Well, there's an image of it, I think. Yeah.
There is, because I posted
Carlin,
it.
Putting this up. Lol, you're the most cringe person. This is my subscriber to her on this bird app, and an active reason the Libertarian Party is a joke. Before I thought it was vermin, but anyone tolerating your presence whatsoever in a serious way has taken his place. You're my first for physical fucking removal. Lol. Can you point out the credible threat of violence there?
Can you point out why you want me to call the cops on someone over a tweet instead of dealing with it in a much more managed way? Can you provide any justification for why you want me calling the cops on this guy? Because again, if someone makes a threat of physical violence against me, I'm going to defend myself. That's not in question. You threaten me with physical anything, I am going to defend myself. But I did it in a far more measured, managed way than what Styx is proposing, which is locking someone in a cage over a tweet. I don't think that's acceptable. So no, Styx, I decline your classical liberal offer to call the cops over a tweet. I decline.
Is there a specific threat? Is there a specific time or methodology listed? Has a police report been filed because my evil Clanker subscriber has threatened you in such an egregious manner?
See, this is Styx. This is what I said earlier. Styx is desperate to create a reality in which he is correct and I am wrong. And he is spinning and taking things out of context to create this reality, where he is right and I am wrong, because Styxhexenhammer's trigger is being wrong and having a big spotlight shown on the fact that he is wrong. And he doesn't want to admit that he's wrong. And that's why he is doing a video in which he is focusing in on only the details that support his view, rather than looking at the full case, which is what I wrote about on artofthetrigger.com, where you can actually see the evidence, you can see the receipts, you can see every time Styxhexenhammer insulted me because he's triggered. You can see every step of the triggering. But just take his word for it. He's only giving you the most pertinent information that is necessary to perceive that Styxhexenhammer is right and I am wrong, but leaving out all other evidence. 2 more minutes. Let's see if he gets better.
Talk to the FBI about it. No, that would be bootlicking, right?
You want me to go to fucking FBI? Wait. You want me to go to the FBI over a tweet? Are you fucking shitting me? Okay, guys, like, for real. It is not libertarian to say that someone should go to the FBI. It is not libertarian at all. In fact, one of the promises that I made, actually back in February, I made this promise a long time ago. I said that if I was that if I was elected as governor of New Hampshire, I would forbid all federal law enforcement from operating within the state of New Hampshire. That's my position. That's the position I've stated publicly. That if I got elected governor, I would forbid all federal law enforcement from coming in the state, and I wouldn't work with them or cooperate with them in any way. And Styx, who is positioning himself as the arbiter of libertarianism, has not only now said I should go to the cops, but has said I should go to the FBI. I know I'm a baby libertarian. I know I've only been around a year and a half. I know I have a lot to learn. I have yet to read the 12 economics books that I was given to read when I joined the Libertarian Party. But I'm pretty clear on a couple of things. And it is pretty clear to me that Styx is probably the first libertarian that I have ever encountered that is advocating that someone go to the FBI for anything, let alone over a tweet. That just seems to be, well, not just a slight overreaction, but possibly not very libertarian of a thought. Again, probably needs some sleep. He probably does. Young kid, I get it. That's a little much, though.
You can't go to the cops. That would be bootlicking. But you can go to Twitter, right?
Yes.
Instead of just muting the conversation, blocking the person. Do you know how many goddamn death threats I've suffered over the years being a content creator with my kind of clout? Thousands of them.
Yeah, so have I, Styx. And most of the death threats I get come from audiences that are made up of people like yours. So if you don't want that type of audience, maybe you shouldn't pander to them. I don't want that type of audience, which is why I refuse to debate you. I don't want to go anywhere near your type of audience because I've gotten plenty of death threats as well. What you choose to do with your death threats is your business. What I choose to do is my business. But you just outlined specifically why I will not ever engage with you in a debate. Because I don't want to be in front of the type of audience that is going to be sending me ridiculous death threats because I've been there, done that, honey. I got the fucking t-shirt. I'm done. I'm fucking retired. I'm moving on to far less outrage-addicted audiences, far more emotionally and intellectually mature audiences. If you don't want to do that, that's your fucking business, man. But I'm not impressed with your internet clout. I'm not impressed with your numbers. I'm not impressed with your audience. I want to be left alone to do my work without being told that I needed to go to the FBI over a fucking tweet.
I have had literally thousands of people across the whole fucking political spectrum claim they wanted to end my life, maim me, burn my house down, etc.
Again, we're getting into like another dick measuring contest. Is that what I'm hearing? This is like a perpetual dick measuring contest? Another reason I'm not interested in this. Styx has just given me a whole fucking laundry list, and which I actually really appreciate. It's important to know where you should be and what is just not a productive use of time.
So far, nothing's materialized because people are pussies. And online, they talk a big game.
No, nothing has materialized, Styx, because you live in Holland. I've had people drive by my house. I've had people take pictures of my house that showed up on the internet. I've had that happen to me. You live in Holland, dude. That's why it hasn't materialized.
This isn't even a threat. This is a hyperbolic reference to Pinochet as far as I can tell.
And you want me to go to the FBI over that? You want me to go to the cops over that? You want to throw someone in a cage over that? I didn't. I just wanted the tweet gone. Fuck around, find out. That kid losing that Twitter account, which was less than a month old, by the way, I checked before I reported it, would not have been any great loss. He would have just created another Twitter account. He would have come back with a different fucking anonymous Twitter account. It wouldn't have even been that big of a deal. The account wasn't that old anyway. I wanted the tweet gone. I got what I wanted. You don't like it? Too bad, so sad. But I am not reporting someone to the cops over a fucking tweet.
Tell. Anyway. So the LP's gubernatorial candidate in New Hampshire doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. Then I said, well, then debate me on the topic.
Really? Again, like, okay, I know I keep saying the same things over and over again, but Styx has not gone through my platform, has no idea what I believe, wants me to report people to the cops over tweets, and I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about? He spent 2 solid days tweeting about me. He has probably sent over 24 tweets about me in the last 2 days. But I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm not the one arguing on the side of the cops, bro.
Topic of free speech and tech censorship. I issued a challenge.
No.
It took only a few goddamn minutes for that to be rejected.
Oh, look how bitter he is over that. He wanted that debate so badly. Look how bitter he is. It took only a few goddamn minutes for her to reject me. And Styx, again, I have to just really point out that I have had the same policy on debating for the last 2.5 years that I've been doing this, which is I do not debate. I don't think it's a good use of time. I don't think it's a good use of energy. I don't think anything is ever accomplished in any debate ever. I don't want to be exposed to the toxic bro members of your audience. I don't want that. You can have all the feelings about that you want. No one is allowed to ban King Peter of the chat. King Peter is allowed to say whatever he wants. And Peter, I don't agree with you necessarily because he is saying over and over, like Styx was baiting me all day on Twitter, report it to the cops, report it to the cops, report it to the cops. And I'm like, it is just a different thing to hear a libertarian actually advocate through his voice that he thinks a better scenario would be for me to report it to the cops. Do you know what he might have really been trying to do? I wonder if Styx was trying to bait me into reporting it to the cops just to prove that I'm not a libertarian. Is that possible? Could he really have been trying to bait me into actually reporting that guy to the cops just to have additional proof that I'm actually not a real libertarian?
I wonder fucking why. Afraid of being Katie Hobbs? She's the Katie.
I'm not afraid of anything, Styx. I have no interest in debating with you on that topic. It provides absolutely no value to me whatsoever. Just because you stomp your feet and hold your breath and demand doesn't mean that I am obligated to say yes to you. Provide me something, Styx, that provides value to me based on my real priorities, based on the things that I really care about. And maybe we can figure something out. But I am not obligated to say yes to you, bro. I am not obligated to play by the rules that you are demanding I play by. And the only reason you want me in a debate is because you want to take back control in this situation, control that I took from you the minute that it became very clear that you were defending someone who was violating the non-aggression principle. I'm in control of this situation. We both know it, Styx. And you are desperate to get back control, which is why you're demanding that I debate you on the topic that you chose, on the platform that you control, that is run by your friends. You are doing everything you can to regain control in this situation because I so thoroughly and completely triggered you over the last 2 days. That's what this is about. Nothing more.
Katie Hobbs of the Libertarian Party. The irony, this morning she was replying to a thread by Katie Hobbs as well. I thought that was very ironic. You refuse to debate. You can't.
What did I reply to that thread by Katie Hobbs? By the way, the thread, he's also incorrect about that, by the way. I didn't reply to a thread by Katie Hobbs. I replied to a video in which Katie Hobbs, talk about taking an unlibertarian position. Katie Hobbs said something about the school choice thing in Arizona. My reply to that video that someone else posted, that, by the way, Corey DeAngelis directed me to, was to say, you, Katie Hobbs, went to a private school. Now, Styx doesn't want to tell you that because, of course, my reply to the video of Katie Hobbs saying, Katie, you went to a private school. Why shouldn't all parents have that choice? That seems to be a libertarian position. So Styx doesn't want to admit what that actually said because that might actually make it look like, wait, she's really a libertarian and she holds libertarian positions. Holy shit.
Hour from me. You're apparently afraid of some rando on Twitter making a hyperbolic comment. I guess you're not hip to meme culture enough to understand the goddamn reference.
You are absolutely correct, Styx, that I don't give a flying fuck about meme culture because, unlike you, apparently, I am a fully developed adult. Now, I understand that Styxhexenhammer has grown up on the internet. I get it. But people who grow up on the internet have a fundamentally different view of the world than people who do not grow up on the internet. It's not good or bad, I suppose. It's not right or wrong. It's just a different experience. It's a different perspective. So Styx is absolutely correct that I don't give a flying fuck about meme culture. Doesn't interest me in any way. 4chan doesn't interest me in any way. Debate bro culture doesn't interest me in any way. And I'm not obligated to be interested in those things, Styx. I'm not obligated to care about the same things that you care about. And you can try to force me or shame me into it all you want, but I'm not actually ashamed of my behaviors here. Because I have every right to defend myself when someone makes a threat of physical violence. We teach people how to treat us. If you let that happen, it's going to happen again and again and again and again and again. And Styx, the fact that you've gotten so many death threats is probably a reflection of the fact that you've allowed it to happen again and again and again and again and again in your audience without doing anything about it. If that's what you want to do, dude, that's your choice. But I am allowed to make different choices. Again, as I have said 19 ways from Sunday that he has not acknowledged at all, it's fine to have different values. Styx and I have different values. Styx lives in a land where death threats are not only tolerated, but apparently, like, he doesn't even care. He's allowed to do that. He is allowed to build that type of community. But I'm under no obligation to participate in that type of community, and I'm certainly under no obligation to allow the same behavior in my community. None at all. It's okay to have different values. He can do whatever he wants in his corner of the internet. But if someone makes a threat of physical anything against me in my corner of the internet, I am 100% reporting it, and I'm not reporting it to the cops, Styx, because I don't think that's appropriate at that level. If it got more severe, I'd have to evaluate it on a case-by-case basis at that point. But if you want to go running to the cops, that's your business. If you want to go running to the feds, that's your business. But as a general rule, I just don't think that that's an appropriate response. I just don't. I'm sorry. I'm not going to use agents of the state against people unless there is a very, 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 very good reason to, and it is completely unavoidable on any other level. Don't get me wrong. I will do it. I've filed police reports against people who have been harassing me and stalking me. Mostly to make sure that the police don't swap my house if they call in a false, complaint. But I'm not going to report someone to the cops over a tweet. That doesn't make sense.
And you call yourself a libertarian? And Dad, quick mommy Twitter, save me, hold my hand. Somebody said a mean thing on the internet. That's a really good look for the Libertarian Party.
You want me to call the cops. That is an even worse look for the Libertarian Party. Congratulations, Styx. But, oh, wait, I'm sorry. Wait. You're not a member of the Libertarian Party. I forgot. You don't join things and you don't participate, even though you talk big about, I'm going to run for governor, I'm going to move to New Hampshire, and I'm going to get more votes than you. But you don't do it. If you don't like how things are being run, Styx, then put up or shut up. Come back to the United States. Come to the libertarian homeland. Meet the residency requirement. And run for office. Because right now, you're just a tired man who is lacking sleep that is complaining on the internet. That's all this is. I don't want to take anything away from the work you've done because I think you have done a lot of work in terms of your occult stuff. It's very, very impressive. But right now, you're just a new parent that needs some sleep, that got triggered because he was exhausted, that needs to take a nap, and just get some fucking perspective, dude.
You'd fit in right with the Democrats, though. You can replace Tulsi Gabbard. She got tired of that horseshit from the Democratic Party. I know you're anti-woke. Why don't you just become an anti-woke, like a Manchin Democrat or something?
I don't want to.
Show your true colors instead of pretending.
Perhaps if Styxhexenhammer had actually taken the time to review my platform for governor, which is completely and totally about defunding public education, he might understand why I wouldn't necessarily fit in with the Democratic Party today, because everything that I am doing every single day is actively about destroying public education. But again, Styx, because he hasn't bothered to do his homework before making a video flaming someone on the internet, doesn't realize that. But Styx, I am more than happy. If you want to have a conversation, Styx, about my policies in regards to public education, my actual platform for governor of New Hampshire, if you want to have a conversation about that, not a debate, because I'm not doing that bullshit, I am more than happy, Styx, to have a conversation with you about how I would like to destroy public education every single day of the week. Tell me what your schedule is, bro. I'll work around it. But don't make a video about me where you're telling me to go join the Democratic Party when you haven't even bothered to do your homework about me to understand what my positions on public education are. It's just bad form, dude.
It's about time that real libertarians be, the ones that are running within the Libertarian Party. I guess one weakness of libertarianism is it's harder to prevent all the screwballs from running for office in your name.
I was nominated to run for governor of New Hampshire by Ian Freeman. You want to tell me that Ian Freeman isn't a libertarian, dude? Really? Really? I'm sure that would surprise pretty much everyone. Styx, if you have a problem with me running for governor of New Hampshire on the LP ticket, then you need to take it up with with the person that nominated me. You need to take it up for the people who voted for me at convention. Or maybe you could actually take some time to understand what my platform and positions are. Because you being upset over tweets is not the same thing as you doing your homework on this particular issue.
That's about all. Peace out.
Well, that was fun. That was fun, wasn't it? So, about 3 hours of me talking, I'm losing my voice. But again, I'm deadly serious. If Styxhexenhammer would like to have a conversation about my actual positions on public education, my actual work on trying to destroy the public schools, particularly Styx, the public schools in Vermont, where you and I both grew up, I am more than happy to have that conversation any day of the week. But what I'm not going to do is bend the knee to an outrage mob. And that outrage mob is currently in my YouTube comments. I've been blocking them in the chat all day. They're all over my Substack. They're all over my Twitter. What I'm going to go do now is document the outrage mob because I want to use this as a case study for Art of the Trigger. And no, I'm not going to apologize for having that website. Sorry. And Styx, what I recommend you do is chill the fuck out. Smoke a joint. Kick your feet up. Have a cup of tea. Eat an ice cream cone. Do whatever the fuck you need to do. Get some sleep. Because I really do think that what we have seen in this entire affair is that Styxhexenhammer is not sleeping because he has a young child. Therefore, he is overly stressed, not perceiving information accurately. It does seem very out of character for him. But what he really should do is learn from this experience, possibly grow from it, possibly do better homework next time. And bro, come on. You're going to say someone should call the cops over a tweet? And you want to say that's worse than reporting them to the platform? Doesn't sound very libertarian to me, but you know, what do I know? I'm probably wrong. All right, guys, that's all I have for right now. I'm going to head off. But I will be back at 5 p.m. tomorrow. I don't know what I'm streaming about. So probably something far more productive than this, but I really am having a great time with Art of the Trigger. And I think it is actually a really, 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 like, I'm happy with my writing. I'm happy with the lessons that I'm teaching. And, you know, the people that I profile and do case studies on are probably not going to be happy about it, but, you know, that's their choice. All right, guys, take care. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you soon.